Good evening and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. I am Aaron and I am your game master, and we are back for some Warhammer 40K mayhem with Cubicle 7's Wrath and Glory. Little reminder about the setting. The sinister schemes of Chaos Gods have shattered the galaxy. The Great Rift tore through space and reality, pushing mortal life to the precipice of oblivion. The Gilead system has lost contact with the vast Imperium, trapped in the silent darkness. As the shadows of extinction loom and hope fades, but it is not yet extinguished. Rallied by the rogue trader Jackal Varonius, a disparate group are dedicated to do what must be done to keep the Gilead system from being consumed by the darkness. Can they resist the machinations of chaos as well as the plots of those who will see the rift as an opportunity to further their own powers? We shall see. And see we shall indeed, for if you were with us last session or if you caught up on YouTube, our group of troubleshooters had an interesting time of it a couple of weeks ago. So a quick recap. The Varonius flotilla has made system fall a little over 6 months ago, bringing much-needed resources and hope to the Gilead system. Jackal Varonius directed a member of his family, Helene Varonius, to form a task force and provide teams of troubleshooters to travel throughout the system to help ensure the stability of the Imperium. Our players comprise one such team. They were formed 3 months ago, and until this point have been dealing with minor issues, liaison assignments between the flotilla and the planetary governors, tithing concerns, resource management, and the like. However, that has changed. The team was summoned to a meeting with Helene Varonius and Novator Octavia Omnicara, the head of the Omnicara navigator family, and perhaps the most skilled navigator in the entire segmentum. A ship known as the Throne's Tier, which is a Viper-class scout sloop that had been part of the flotilla, has transitioned from the warp in the outer Gilead system and is on a collision course with the shrine world of Enoch. The Throne's Tiers had disappeared into a warp storm shortly before the rest of the flotilla arrived in the Gilead system. Long-range auspecs indicate that the ship has sustained some warp damage and structural damage, particularly to the gravimetric systems, and appears to be causing a great cloud of warp flotsam to be pulled into the ship's artificial gravity well. In addition, long-range Vox systems seem offline, and no one has been able to reach anyone on the ship. The team was ordered to take a gun cutter to the Throne's Tiers, navigate through the gravimetric anomaly, past the debris clouds, and board the ship to determine if it could be salvaged. If the ship can be salvaged, they were ordered to evacuate the command crew, especially Vintael Omnicara, the navigator, in the gun cutter, while leaving Sister Hospitaller Celeste and Brother Talav behind to help the ship's crew to ensure that it could be moved to a safe system orbit and treat any illnesses while they await further support from the flotilla. If the ship cannot be salvaged, the team is to rescue the command crew if possible, and the navigator. This last is an absolute requirement to ensure that his genetic material, at a minimum, can be saved for the good of the Omnicara navigator dynasty. In fact, a modified Ogren servitor with a status cask built into his back has accompanied the team to ensure the recovery of Vitali if he's no longer living. The gun cutter took off, and members of the team assisted the pilot in navigating past the gravitational anomalies, and they boarded the Throne's Tiers via the main docking bay, where they were greeted by Dock Chief Felice LeBeau and some 30-odd dock workers. The dock workers were happy to see support from the flotilla, but were confused and made it clear that to them only 6 hours had passed since the incident that knocked them off course, not 6 months. Felice told the team that she had not had any contact with any of the ship's officers and had sent 2 dock hands to the Auxiliary Command and Control Center a couple of hours ago, but they hadn't returned at this point. She had kept the rest of her people in the docking bay and cargo area to ensure that they were safe until they received the all clear signal from one of the ship's officers. She also told the team that a sister hospitaller named Alora Hart, who had been down in the docking bay treating a broken leg, had seen evidence of warp sickness in the off-duty personnel in the billet area and had moved them all into the infirmary for treatment. LeBeau then gave the team the basic layout of the ship and directions to the engineering, the auxiliary command and control center, and the bridge. The team made its way through the billet areas and decided to stop in the infirmary to check with Sister Hart. As they approached, the sister turned to reveal the horror that had befallen her as Grandfather Nurgle had claimed her soul through pestilence. Sister Nura engaged the corrupted sister and was grievously injured by a corrupted chainsword before Birk Talov charged in with his electro stave and crushed her skull. And that is where we're going to pick up. In that moment, right before that strike, we're going to get to know our players and we're going to see how they are handling the situation that just befell them. So once again, set the scene. We see Sister Nora falling back. Her shoulder, a ragged, bloody mess from a chainsword that has found its way between two plates of her ceramite armor, grinding through bone and tissue, perhaps infecting her with the very plague that she fights against. As she falls back in that moment, as the space opens up, Birk Talov rushes in. Though no eyes are on his face, electricity crackling around his body, he still sees with his preternatural senses, and his electro stave circles around and crushes Sister Hart's head, almost knocking it completely free from her body. Her brains explode, but instead of red blood, we see corrupted green mucus and fluid flying out. But the electricity cauterizes it as it makes contact with it. And instead of fluid and mucus and blood coating Birk Talov, it's simply ash as the sister falls backwards. The nurgling hordes that had been harassing the rest of the party squeal and screech and move en masse, covering the sister's body, chewing and gnawing at the ceramite to get at the flesh beneath. And they all seem to congeal into a pool of corrupted slime, bubbling as this horrid miasma of decay and rot and filth fills the room. And then the puddle begins to recede through the deck plates or perhaps back through the warp. You're unclear. At this point, I need everyone to make me a difficulty 3 conviction roll to resist corruption.
Where do I do conviction roll at?
Combat
So
tab.
if you
It's under combat.
Oh, okay.
The button that says conviction. On the right side.
5. Okay, so Nura got 5 successes. It was a difficulty 3, so you don't actually gain 2 corruption.
Sorry, I thought I changed the... I guess I was too busy being snarky to Justin to accurately change my difficulty level. So that's karma.
Okay, so Talov. All right, let's go back through this. So Talov, we're just going to go in the order that you guys rolled. Nura, you were first. You see this happening. Melissa, describe Sister Nura to us, who she is, and what she is feeling and thinking in this moment as she successfully fights off the corrupted efforts of the sister hospitaller who just attacked her.
Yeah, so Sister Nora, kind of by looks is a bit of kind of what you would expect, kind of the short blonde hair, kind of wearing the full, kind of robes and regalia and armor and everything of Sister of Battle. She just earlier in the day had been, earlier last session had been, kind of reviewing lessons in her journal from, kind of previous instructors and whatnot. And so as she, rushed in as she is supposed to do, and, thought this would be something that she could take care of, and was quite swiftly and brutally injured, actually, by this. She's kind of thinking back to that, those who hold fast to the emperor are never truly defeated. And that's just what she sort of thinks over and over to herself as she kind of gathers herself and kind of steps away. And to kind of explain that a little bit, there's an objective each session. And so the objective that I had rolled last session and didn't quite get out last session was to recall a wise structure your drill abbess laid down and its application to the current situation.
Perfect. So you've executed your objective for this session, and that gives you another wrath point. And what we see is you feel the warmth of the Emperor as you're praying to him in your heart, and it expands through your body, and you can literally feel the corrupted touch in your wounds burning away from the Emperor's grace as he fills your mind and heart with his worship. And that leads us to Talif. You have just struck this mighty blow. You're coated in this. You're observing this, and you feel the illness and the sickness and the rot cover and coat your body, even through this electrical aura. And you do gain 2 points of corruption as you have faced off against this horror, and it's had this impact on you. So tell us a little bit about Talif and what's he thinking, what's he feeling in this moment.
So Talif charged in with full confidence. He was imbued with the power of the motive force, and he essentially earned his staff with it, and everything transpired exactly as he envisioned it transpiring, with perfect efficiency. 1 shot, 1 kill. And then his staff, there is a leech in it, in the name for a reason, because when it kills, it takes from, and almost seems like a conduit to absorb the force coming out of different creatures. And so perhaps the very force that it is coming is somehow tainted, corrupted in some particular way. So I'd like to think that he feels like a brief moment of sickness, that's something that he is not familiar with. It is biological. It is not of concern to him. And so when he feels like the sickness of the flesh momentarily come over him, I think there is a recoiling effect that he probably has. But he tries to right himself by just sort of placing the staff against his head, feeling the thrum of electricity. And he just sort of mutters, either under his breath or just in his mind, "The flesh is weak. The motive force is strong. I must cease communication with these biologics. I must commune with the machine. That is the efficient way." Ugh.
And he kind of like just pulls back from the staff at that point and looks in relative disgust, not just at what's befallen him, but at his crew, I think, at this point, including Nura, just like to allow herself to like get that far, and then kind of steps off to the side, not concerned with anything going on here, and it's just sort of examining anything for technology, any sort of machinery, any consoles in here. He's paying far more attention to that to see if there's any of them are still imbued, any of them are still inhabited by machine spirit.
Excellent. And as your eyes pan across your crew, we find Wilbert Hahn, who also was touched by the corruption in this room. And you took 1 point of corruption from this. Long, why don't you tell us about Wilbert? What's he look like, who he is, and how he's reacting to this moment?
He's screaming in pain because he's doubting his conviction right now. This ooze, this mess is covering him. He's asking for forgiveness because he's even near this corruption. And he's in full leather. He's a death assassin. And I'm screaming, "This corruption! If I'm corrupted, someone end me, Beric. If I end up like that."
Beric will look to you, and he will bring the staff out, and he will begin to close his distance so unless someone stops him, Beric is going to smash you with his staff.
He said if. He said if. Not yet. Not yet.
And he looks once more with disgust at Sister Nura. And then, still feeling the corruption himself, he'll put the staff away at that point.
Sister Celeste, you see Wilbert Hahn, this the assassin, the death cult assassin, the faithful servant of the Emperor, the Emperor's blade, begin to scream out. You, with your conviction in the Emperor, were able to stave off any corruption. But tell us about Sister Celeste and what you're feeling and thinking in the moment.
Sister Celeste is our Sister Hospitaller. And she's feeling a surprising lack of apathy for Sister Hart because she allowed herself to be infected. She disgraced herself and by extension the Emperor. So Sister Celeste holds no pity for her for what has happened or become against to her. She does feel thankful for Sister Nura for intercepting the awful wounds, and she's convicted that she does need to heal her. And she's concerned that the church may also have been defiled. So she wants to quickly assist Nura and then see if there's anything salvageable. Along with this weapon that has been defiled, and it should be purified in the Emperor's name.
Absolutely. And then we pan across, we see the last member of the task force, Gavious. Your faith in the Emperor or your faith in yourself was strong enough to keep the corruption at bay. Tell us a little bit about Gavious and what you're thinking or feeling in the moment.
Well, this is just another day on the job. I've been around this type of heretical nature for years. I've been training within it. I've been steeped within this world. And for me, this corrupted woman is just another folly of those who stray away from the Lord Emperor himself. And so it just reminds me that we all have the chance, the ability to fall within the corruption, but I myself do not, because I am someone who does not stray from the light of the Lord Emperor, and I will use my abilities and my powers to make sure that it is wiped clean of this world, of these galaxies, from now until the end of time.
Absolutely. The Emperor protects, right? So, in this brief pause, as the last of this corruption disappears, what do you do? Sister Nura is grievously injured. The rest of you, some of you have been tainted, but you're still on your feet. How do you want to proceed? You remember that the dock supervisor, LeBeau, said that you could continue out to the main corridor. To the right, half a kilometer or more down is the Engineerium. To the left, a couple hundred meters up, is the Auxiliary Command and Control. And then past that, another 500, 600 meters would be the bridge access. The blast doors have come down all throughout the ship once the alarm sounded. But you would have access probably up to or very near to the Auxiliary Command and Control, or you can fall back and regroup, or do any other thing you'd like.
Continue unless, Sister Nura is not going to recommend falling back.
Could I attempt to heal her first?
Absolutely, you can do a Medicaid check. So if you succeed, it's a DN3. You get 1, and for every icon, you would heal 1 wound, and for every icon you can shift, it would be an additional.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna rip it.
Two
8
possible
successes,
shifts.
2
Ooh,
shifts.
and a wrath complication.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
A
Oh
wrath
dear.
complication. Okay, so you heal Sister Nura of 3 wounds. And I think what happens is as you're sewing up this horrible wound and you're putting a compression bandage on it and you're praying over it, you cut the palm of your hand.
Okay.
I want you to make me a difficulty 2 corruption test, as some of this corrupted tissue might have impacted you.
So I
Oh,
can't
dear.
click on corruption on the thing to roll.
You should be able to roll a conviction test.
Okay, got it.
Sorry, yeah, a corruption to do a corruption test. You roll conviction. I apologize.
And then,
Just difficulty 2.
Uh-oh.
Now, 1 success. Remember, you guys have wrath points. You can re-roll your failed.
yeah, I will do that.
If you've got any wrath points left.
Still failed. No complication this time though.
Holy Hannah. Okay, so you take. You've got
Join
1
me,
success. You
Sister
take
Celeste.
1 point. You take 1 point of corruption as you're infected by this wound.
Okay.
But you do manage to heal Sister Nora of 3 wounds. So, Sister Nora, you can heal yourself up.
Thank you. Thank you. I needed that. We must press on, though. We have a duty.
So mechanically, really fast. You had 2 possible shifts, Ashley. One of those you could shift into our glory pool. You can only do that.
Oh, okay.
So you could always do that. I don't know what you want to do with the other
well,
one.
but for each shift you do, you can heal a wound. So if I just assumed you were shifting.
Yeah,
with
so
the
that's
bonus.
why I was able to heal 3 because I
Yeah.
used the 2 shifts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if the 8 successes were contributed to
Yeah,
that.
that's what I
No,
assumed
no.
too, yeah.
A single success. If you succeed on a heal check, unless if you regroup, it's a different mechanic. But if you're just continuing, basically you're doing like field medicine. You succeed, it heals 1 wound, and then for each possible shift, it will heal an additional wound. So, yeah, outside of combat, like if you took an hour to regroup, she would just automatically heal you a number of wounds equal to her Medicaid pool, which is intelligence plus medicine. So, but you press on. So you guys, is there anything you want to do in this? Remember, you're kind of in a barracks area. That you were in the infirmary. There's also the chapel across the corridor, and then there is the mess hall that's in this area before you get to the main hall that bisects the ship.
I say we go to the chapel.
I mean, having survived this, Sister Nura must spend at least a moment in the chapel, clearly.
Obviously.
We have been
Right.
given a task. The task does not take us to the chapel, nor does it take us to the mess hall. It takes us to the bridge. We have
And it
already
will take us to the bridge in a minute.
we have already made one unnecessary detour from our objective, and it has resulted in your near destruction. Why?
Who knows what would have happened had we not taken care of that? It could have infected further. So I would say we are one objective ahead of where we thought we would be.
You use the word we, yet it was not you who took care of it.
Not this time.
Ugh.
Sister Nura goes into the chapel.
Okay. One other quick question. What are you doing with the corrupted chainsword that Sister Hart was wielding?
I would imagine that it is now on my back. Like if it's
So you're
is
gonna
it
carry it
something
with
that I
you?
can wrap?
You definitely can, and you can carry it with you if you'd like.
Seems like nothing to just leave behind here.
As you look into the chapel, you see that it has been completely desecrated. The double-headed Aguila at the front the wings have been torn off, and it's been draped in intestines and viscera. There is filth and excrement on the walls, and in sigils and script that hurt your head and make your soul cry out to stare at them even for a moment. Do you proceed into the chapel, or what do you do?
Yes, proceeded.
Okay. Anybody else going into the chapel?
This chapel is corrupted. No, I can't step in there.
Okay.
Yeah, once Celeste, if she glances in and she sees the corruption, she's gonna spit on the ground and then turn to Beric and call for Nura to join her. Let's retrieve the navigator so we can destroy this ship. Obviously, it does not need to be kept.
So when Sister Celeste says this, Sister Nura, do you continue to go into the chapel, or do you fall back?
And Sister Nura just had already had this argument once, but now one of her sisters is making the same argument again. And so she will stop. She will lower her head. She will say a prayer that was intended to be said inside the chapel, but that apparently not is going to happen right now. So she will nevertheless bow her head, say her prayer, raise her head. After you, sister.
All right, so you pull out, you make your way to the main arterial corridor that leads up to the bridge and then down to Engineerium. How would you like to proceed?
Wasn't there a console that we were heading towards? In the
So
before
there's
the nav.
there's the auxiliary command and control.
Right.
And
That's
Yeah,
one
I think
way
that's
to
what
the
I'm
bridge.
thinking of.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that's a couple
Usually.
100 meters up towards the bridge. So that's
Mhm.
if you head left in the hallway and go a couple 100 meters, you'll get to the auxiliary command and control center. Past that, another 500, 600 meters is the bridge. And then down to the right is where the engineering is.
Okay. Yeah, because I think we
auxiliary.
wanted.
Yeah.
I think we wanted to go to the console so that Beric can do his thing.
Fantastic. How are
Do
you
my thing.
proceeding?
Yeah.
Like, are you going stealthily? Are you double timing it?
So just so we can figure out our process, like who here who do we think is point?
Not
Beric,
me.
Beric would be towards the front. I don't know if he would be like the best person to be out front, but he would definitely be like a forward person. I'm not sure if there's like
And if we're
anybody
just
else.
looking for someone that can like shoot at an enemy that might come up, then Sister Nura would be up front.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a mid-rangey guy. I'm not going to be towards the front. I'll be kind of in the middle.
I can be
No,
towards the
we'll
front as
stop.
well, I think.
Okay. All right. So we'll say, what do we think? Like Sister Nura and Beric up front, Wigbert and Gavious like right behind. So are we? I would say Beric has no care about stealth. He is instead. He's not moving quickly, but he's being observant along the way. He's looking for any signs of like malfunctioning conduits, anything that suggests like misplaced panels, anything that appears to have been kind of tinkered with along the way, like anything like again mechanically, tech wise, that might have been messed with. That's probably all he's really paying attention to as he moves.
Could I possibly do like an auspex check to kind of like see if there's anything anomalies in the area or something
Absolutely.
as we're going down the hallway?
Absolutely. Give me a D&3 technologies check. Take a bonus die for your auspex.
Technologies. I'm bad at. It's not in stats. It's in combat.
Under stats, if you look down, tech.
Oh, tech. I'm looking for the word technologies. DN3.
D&3. And get a bonus die.
Oh, I didn't put a bonus die.
Oh, you're fine.
I still
You
approved.
succeeded. And you got a Wrath Critical, so your glory went up by 1. And with that Wrath Critical, you're looking at your auspex, your internal auspex. And it's fairly short range, but you are picking up 2 distinct life signs directly in front of you down the corridor, about 200 meters. You assume roughly where the auxiliary command and control is. And very faintly throughout the ship, you're picking up other life sign blips. And just in the immediate area, you're picking up 200 or 300, but they are probably behind blast doors. Is there
From
anything
this,
particular you were trying to figure out with your roll?
just kind of see where people were at and if there's any type of strange, life sign anomalies. Are they close enough for me to kind of like probe their mind and see what's going on? Is that possible?
Not yet. You're not
Okay.
close enough for that yet.
All
You
right.
got to kind of get line of sight with them. And you're
Okay.
a couple hundred meters away.
All right. So I'm guys, I do one of these things. Steal third.
Barrick is insulted as he has no eyes, and that is very insulting.
I'm asking you to steal third base. All right. I need you to get going.
Real quick, sorry to slow things up, but just kind of get used to the character. So Sister Nura has Purity of Faith.
Mm-hmm.
You and any allies within 50 meters gain plus double rank bonus dice to corruption tests.
So you guys
Sister
are ranked.
Celeste was just rolling.
Yep, you're rank 1, so you would get 2 bonus dice to your corruption tests. So this is the entire purpose of the Space Hulk adventure is to give everybody an opportunity to learn and feel the roles. So if you took corruption, I will let you go back and re-roll your corruption test with the 2 bonus dice at this point. And if you succeed, we will take away the corruption. If you fail worse, we'll just leave your corruption at where it's at, because I'm not that evil. So I believe that's Barrick and Sister Celeste now, and Wilbur.
I kind of like Wilbur being corrupted, though. I'll be honest. I'm freaking is pretty good.
Trust me, this is Warhammer 40K. It's gonna happen.
So how do you add bonus dice in the system?
I was just trying. I only
Just
roll
roll.
a conviction roll.
Just roll 2d6.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just roll 2d6 on
That's
the
what I'm
side.
gonna do.
So if
That's
adding
3 more
bonus
successes.
under the dice pool, that wouldn't help.
It should, if you can pull that up.
Let's see.
So Barrick got 2 successes on his, including a 6. So he got.
Okay.
So he would have.
So
he would have avoided.
Barrick
the
would have
corruption.
passed.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mine's the same, so I'm still corrupted.
You're still corrupted. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
that
change
works.
my DN, but you said for my hand it was DN2, so I would have
Correct.
passed.
All right. So you do not get your corruption. Barrick is not corrupted, but our Death Cult assassin is a little corrupted. Okay. Thank you for checking out. That's because that's one of the wonderful things in this game about the Sisters of Battle. They have the faith options really make them tough against corruption and things like this. So excellent. So feeling a little bit better than you did a second ago as we rewind the tape and move forward. You're in the hall. You've decided not to go too stealthy. You're just going to move out. Gavious has indicated that there are 2 life forms down towards the command and control, which kind of jives with what the dock supervisor LeBeau said, that she'd sent a couple of people down there. So that might be them. You also picked up various fainter life signs throughout the near areas of the ship, but they are clustered in groups, so you're expecting they're probably behind blast doors. As you're moving deeper into the ship, the lights in the docking bay had been normal. But as you go deeper, the lights seem dimmer and dimmer, not to the point where it's difficult to see. In fact, you don't actually think there's anything different with the lighting itself, but the perception, how you're feeling about the light, is that it's darker. And there's a very pervasive, slight smell of mildew, which is very uncommon in a ship like this, because the air scrubbers do a pretty good job of making it smell kind of antiseptic. But then again, the ship has taken some damage. So that might be the issue. You continue down. Everybody give me an awareness check, DN3.
Is this a site-based awareness?
No, just any sentry. It can be site-based. If you get a bonus for site-based, then take it. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Our blind guy gets some incredible successes.
I am not blind. In fact, I am immune
That's
to the
true.
blind condition.
That's true.
I have full sight, but I failed.
Okay.
I am literally Neo from the third Matrix movie.
I love it. I love it. So, Gavious, you got a Wrath Critical, so you guys' glory is now maxed out. So remember, spend
You're
glory when you
welcome,
have the
everybody.
opportunity, because you're not going to get more than you're at. You did have one possible shift. You can shift that for additional information if you want, or anything else.
What I do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that shift.
Okay. Wigbert, you fail, but you're dealing with the corruption. I think you're introspective at the moment. Tal have also got 6 successes and a possible shift, so you can shift for additional information if you want as well.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Nura succeeded. Celeste also succeeded. You guys got a bunch of Wrath Criticals. That's fantastic. So as you're moving down the hallway, one thing you know for a fact is the lighting is not changing. It is your perception of the lighting that's changing. And you feel that it's because the ship, some of you, particularly those of you who have spent time in warp travel, you're beginning to recognize signs that there may have been Geller field failures on the ship. So obviously there's been warp incursions on the ship, but it might have been more widespread than just in the area around the docking bay. As you're getting closer, those of you who got shifts, you see 2 men. They're plotting. They're wearing the uniform of dock handlers, and they're in front of a blast door that you, based on the description, would be the blast door that's closing you off from the auxiliary command and control. And they're just beating against the door. But with those incredible successes and the shifted information at this distance, you guys are about 40 meters away from them, moving up. You can tell that there's something horribly wrong with these 2 individuals. But with your successes and at the distance you're at, they don't appear to have noticed you at this point, as they just stand there and go, oh. And you hear this groaning sound, and the closer you get, the stench gets worse. It's shit and sewage and rotting vegetation and the smell of decaying animals just wafting off of their bodies. Slightly worse than your average soldier's BO.
Do we want to do a preemptive strike? Do we think? I don't even have information.
How far away did you say they were? Again, I'm sorry.
They're about 20 meters. So you guys are moving up. They're about 20 meters away from you at this point. And they don't seem to have noticed you at all.
Are there any like consoles or machinery in the room or near them or anything like that?
You're still in this main hallway. I mean, you could probably pry panels off and get to conduit and maybe get to a data cable or something. But at the moment, you're just going straight down this hallway.
Okay.
Sister Nura has her bolt gun up.
Mm-hmm.
And
So I would say before you shoot,
Start just blasting.
what I would say is one thing I want to try to do is I want to try to do an interaction attack. So I think once we get within, let me double check my range on this. So one of the things that I can do is you can do interaction attacks, and I would do them obviously with tech because I'm so used to being tech, but I have a talent called Signal Booster. And normally a tech, I would have to be in range of it or at a console or something like that. But because I'm an electric priest and I sense the currents of the universe and all that kind of crap, I can do it at a distance 5 times my intellect attribute in meters. And so my intellect attribute is 4, so I can do it from 20 meters away. So if we can get within 20 meters, what I would like to try to do is try to sort of reach out towards like a nearby panel and like just sort of overload a conduit near them and try to just get the arcing electricity to sort of tap into them, or at the very least to blow a panel, like to expose. Because what that can do, the reason I'm saying I do this first is that I can like I can give like usually a one of two, like either vulnerable or
Hindrance.
I can't remember the other condition, and that might help make it easier for you to hit that.
Yeah, it's either hindrance
Nice.
or vulnerability. It's either you either give them difficulty or reduce their defense.
He's thinking with portals. I like it.
I like it.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I would. So yeah. Go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
I was going to say that sounds like a fantastic plan. Feel free to enact it at will.
So Beric will kind of put he's got that heavy gloved hand, the gauntleted hand, and he will place it like on Sister Nura's like large shoulder pad. One moment, and then has the electricity shaft's already out. Like there's no reason he wouldn't have it out while they're combing, and he will just sort of very gently tap it into the ground and put his like forehead against it and just listen for the hum. And in his eyes, like what he sees, you all wouldn't see this, is like you can just see like radiating out like from the staff itself. He can just see the linkage, like just by putting it here and feeling the physical connection between the staff and the ground, you know, in the actual panels. He can kind of see where the conduits are moving, and he will attempt to essentially make contact and startle the spirit that is occupying one of the conduits nearest to them. And so this is an interaction attack, which I think, yeah. So it would just be my tech roll. I think that's all.
Against their defense. Yep.
Right. Yeah. So what defensive number would you like me to put in?
I'm gonna tell you here in just a second. Their defense is 1.
Oh, I'd like to hear that. All right, that is a total of 5 successes with 1 shift possible. I will. Can I use the shift for? Normally it's hindered or vulnerable, and it lasts until the start of my next turn. Can I maybe improve the quality and maybe let the effect last for longer than that?
Absolutely. We can have the effect last for 3 rounds. I recommend you go with hindered because you can't reduce somebody's defense below 1. So
perfect,
they'll require an additional difficulty on all their tests for the next 3 rounds. And so this is what we see. We see everybody doesn't see it, but Beric, you see the electricity in the conduits, you see the machine spirits, you see the machine spirits, the very tiny machine spirits in their cargo manifest scanners on their bodies. You see the bioelectrical energy through their bodies, but you also see that it's corrupted and not flowing right. And then the panel bursts out, and there's this giant electrical arc connecting the 2 of them through their scanners and through the plating of the ship, and they are shocked and begin to burn, and they are hindered.
Okay.
And Sister Neural will just sort of nod to Beric.
And I am, by the way, considering this an ambush round. So because you were able to, your awarenesses were so good, you were able to get up to them without them being aware. You all get to act once before, and if there's anything left to mop up, then we'll go into a normal sort of initiative count.
Now Sister Neural will shoot.
Okay. What are you shooting?
Shooting with, or what's my target?
Both, I guess.
Bolt gun.
Mm-hmm.
And shooting, say, the right of the 2.
Now, and we didn't get too deep into this last time, but so in the game, you've got simple actions, and you've got combat actions, and you've got movement actions. So at the moment, what's the short range for your bolt gun?
12.
Okay, so that's 12 meters. We're at 20 meters, so you're in medium range, so you don't get any bonus for range, and you don't get any detractors for range. But if you decide not to move, if you just stand and shoot, you can take the aim action, which would give you a bonus die.
Okay.
There is also the salvo options, where you burn through all of your ammunition to do additional effects, but
No,
I don't know if you
not
want
for
to
these
do that
guys.
here.
Yeah. And then what was the benefit for them being hindered?
When they take an action, their difficulty goes up. So it doesn't really help you, it hurts them.
Okay, that works.
But their defense is 1.
So then I will aim and shoot. So that is a +1.
And remember, you guys, your glory is maxed out at the moment. So feel free to use it if you want to. Your glory, after you roll, if you want to try to roll additional dice, after any re-rolls, you can spend glory to roll new dice. You're not going to need to do that. You got a wrath
6
critical.
successes and a wrath critical.
Okay, roll the critical. Let's see what we've got here.
Can I
You can
just
also
say,
spend glory for extra damage too.
Yes.
So you know.
Visceral blow. Crimson showers the ground. The battlefield is gory. Effect. The target suffers 1 mortal wound. Okay, that the rest of that isn't. Now, here's another way you can spend glory. If you wanted to make the critical hit worse, you could spend a point of glory on your critical hit and make it a glorious critical hit. And then the additional effects, you would get an additional mortal wound against this person. He'd be knocked prone and they would suffer 2 shock. Or you can just spend glory to increase your damage, 1 point of glory for 1 additional point of damage. Or you don't have to spend any at all. But
damage yet.
no.
Okay.
So roll your damage, but beyond that, they take the effects of the critical. 13 points of damage. Okay. And it's brutal rapid fire. You're not within rapid fire range, so that doesn't apply here. But describe what it looks like when you absolutely disintegrate this human being or whatever it is.
Yeah, so there's just something to kind of the to whatever extent we can see any of sort of what the effect was on them, that it just kind of makes this just a prime target for this bolt gun to just center mass, like just the time when, kind of Beric, kind of did his thing first, just gave Sister Nura the time to just stand and aim and just be very prepared for what she was going to do.
And that's what happens. This explosive round strikes it center mass in its back and explodes. And its torso disintegrates. Absolutely disintegrates. But once again, instead of what you would expect, the red splatter of blood going everywhere, it's a darker color, and the stench coming out of it is horrible. And there's this kind of green fluid oozing out of its body as its arms and head shoot off in random directions from the force of the blow, and its legs just sort of sink down and topple over. The one standing next to it begins to turn, but this is all happening in a blink of an eye. Who wants to go next?
Now's not the time for prayer, Beric. And then I drop into a reverse crab-like stance and do a full action run.
let's
towards the enemy.
go! Let's go!
You're within range, so you can do a charge action. So you can run up and attack. You get +1 to your melee dice for the charge.
I'll do the charge then if I'm in range for it.
Oh, absolutely.
And then
It's double your movement range, and I've decided you're close enough because it's so much fun.
so I didn't get a chance to do combat last time around. What
so
am I
what
rolling?
look at your combat tab, and your weapon should be down below.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And just roll on your weapon, and it should go. Now there are other options. Now he's taking a full round charge action, but and there are other combat actions you can take, and we'll talk about those later as we get to them. Holy crap! 7 successes.
7
Okay,
successes?
that
I did get a complication.
Got a wrath complication.
Oh, murder!
And 3 possible shifts. So once again, with shifts,
I'll do extra damage.
Extra damage. Okay, so roll your damage, and then we'll do your complication. Okay, 8, 2. Okay, we don't even really need to. We don't need to go through the extra damage part. So roll your complication, and then I'll describe what happens.
I dropped an item during it.
Okay, What do you have on your person other than your power swords?
I have a knife or a las pistol.
You don't notice it because when your power swords come through and you slice this thing's body apart, its body literally kind of explodes like a sack of rotted organs. And after what you had experienced with the battle sister, you recoil from it. And you're fast enough that you're pulling back, and without even getting coated in this viscera and these looping green intestines. However, as you pull back, your las pistol is slides out of your holster due to all the slime and excrema that's already on your body, and you don't notice it as it gets covered in this poxwalker's body. But he falls dead at your feet. In that moment, you're standing now in front of this blast door. These two bodies are down. You begin to hear ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. Almost as if it's the sound of hundreds of feet changing direction and slowly moving towards you. And a moan, a groan, almost a cry of pain and ecstasy. It's such a low register, you're only barely hearing it, but every second it gets a little louder and a little louder, and the lights in the hall begin to flicker more quickly, almost as if it was in time with the beating of thousands of hearts.
Can we tell the direction?
From all directions around you, from lower decks, higher decks, side passages.
Okay.
But you don't think anything is too close at the moment.
Yeah.
But
Beric
you've
wants
awoken
to,
something.
Yeah, Beric wants to run across to whatever, because there was they were banging on a door, right? They were banging on
they were banging on the blast door to the command and control center.
Beric wants to go over there, see if he can find the control panel, see if he can undo the blast, or see if he can get us through this, because they clearly couldn't get in there. So maybe that's a place of safety.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's easy. There's an access panel for the door right to the right of it. I just need a difficulty 4 tech check.
Okay.
Now, here's another thing. You guys, somebody could try to help Beric if you wanted. Not that a difficulty 4 tech check is going to be that difficult, but it is possible. And the way that works in this game is you describe how you're going to help him, and if I think it would work, you either take the attribute or the skill, that number of dice, and that becomes bonus dice for Beric when he rolls his actions. If somebody was really strong, they said, I'm going to go up and I'm going to try to help pry the doors open as he's hot wiring it. I would say, okay, you give him your bonus in strength dice or athletics dice. So just not that he's going to need it here, but that is how help works in the game.
Does anyone?
I mean, all I could really do is cheer him on with leadership, but that's gonna work everywhere. So
I would take a penalty die if he was giving me orders.
You got this, man.
All right, so no one's helping me. That's cool. That's cool. I'll just do everything. That's fine.
I will. I have a talent. It's called By His Will. I can spend a faith and add triple the number of bonus dice if I spend a faith.
To what? To one of your rolls, or one of your
when you help a
rolls?
character with the Imperium keyword, you add triple the number of bonus dice if I spend 1 faith.
Okay, so you would just tell me how you are helping him, and then spend the faith, and you would get triple the number of dice.
So, Celeste, she's got augmented legs. So she goes and she starts just kicking in the center of this blast door. And the moment she can get a little dip in there, she puts her foot against it and she starts pushing to help force it open.
I like it. So that sounds like strength to me. So what's your strength score?
Strength is 3.
Okay, so you get 9 bonus dice. So spend your point of faith as Sister Celeste jumps up there with these augmented legs and begins to pry the doors open as you are using your technology to bypass the locks.
See if I did that right. That's
nice.
8 successes. 1 shift possible. I'll say quicker. Like I'll spend the shift to make it happen more quickly.
Just barely got by. Just barely got it. I mean, that's
So
good job,
you see Barrick, the electricity coursing through his fingers as he tears this panel apart and starts going. Celeste jumps in there, and as the doors start to open and shutter, her legs piece in there, and she kicks these doors open, and you guys do it in just moments. And the blast doors are flung open, and you can see into the command and control. And the very first thing you see is at the main console, you see 2 bodies slumped over the console. It looks like they were engaged in some kind of fight. There is blood all over the place, on the walls, on the floor, the ceiling, on the console. But that is all you immediately see in here.
Birk is waiting for the rest of you. Like, let us go before the numbers join us.
Sister Nura steps through, bolt gun out, kind of sweeps off to the right-hand side, waits for everyone else to come in.
And once everyone does come in, I think Barrick's waiting to like try to seal or something, or like lock or whatever it might be.
Yeah, we're just going to roll over your 8 successes. Since you doubled the number of successes you needed, you're able to reseal the doors pretty easily.
Okay. Is it like in Aliens where he's got like the little like hand torch? Is that what we're doing here?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
You could probably use he could use his electro staff if you wanted, but I think probably he just kind of locks the doors.
That is very crude. Does Birk seem like a crude man to you, Gavious?
So, what would you like to do?
Can I go open and inspect the bodies and see what's going on?
Absolutely. Give me an investigation check, DN3.
Oh shit! Can I re-roll one of these?
You can spend a wrath point to re-roll all your failed dice.
So, how do I just click them?
Yeah, just right-click on them, and it'll pull up a menu that says re-rolled failed.
So all the fails is the 1 and the 2, right?
Correct. Nice. 4 successes. So that's enough. So you're looking at this, and you pull the bodies apart. The first thing you notice is the guy on top. His throat has been torn out, and his left hand was over his throat, and in his right hand, he has a Mark III Sun Fury patterned plasma pistol. And you see that he's wearing Spathian fighting plate. I mean, this is really obscure, high-end armor and a very, very nice pistol. Since you got your investigation check successfully, as you're looking over his body, you pull out a Piranha Croc leather folio, and you flip it open, and you see the Inquisitorial eye with the 3 crossbars. And being an interrogator yourself, you recognize that the skull configuration on this eye indicates that he was from one of the Ordo Minoris, specifically the Ordo Sanctorum, who are responsible for investigating the ecclesiarchy. On the flip side of that little folio is his name. He was Interrogator Bastian von Helsinger. And for whatever reason, he killed this or was in a fight with this individual. With your successes, you also find an inquisitorial slate on him.
Before I go into the slate and stuff, what's the other person like?
We're just going to roll over your investigation check. And as you roll the interrogator's body off, Sister Celeste, you recognize the face of this other individual. He is a Ministorum confessor named Fagor Wright. And you know that he was a member of the cadre of counselors that was attached to Ministorum Deacon Erisic Tandar's retinue on the ship, the Prerogative, with the Veronius flotilla. But what you see, Gavious, and what nobody else can see because they're not that close to the body, is that his robes, it looks like that he was hit center mass with this plasma round from this pistol. And it tore and burned his robes away. And you see that in place of his nipples, he has distended purple lips. And these mouths are slightly agape and open with forked tongues coming out of them and rows of shark-like teeth surrounding them. Perhaps even more disturbing, though, is from the small of his back, there is a third chitinous-like limb that ends in a great claw. And you think, based on the wound to the interrogator, that it's likely this claw that tore his throat out, and that he probably, in a moment of death, was able to get the shot off with this plasma pistol.
Oh. While Gavious is checking out like the bodies,
I'm
Celeste
more specifically
is,
checking out his nipples, Ashley. That's what I'm more specifically.
their mouths now. She's looking for potential danger within the room, like she's doing like a sweep kind of thing.
Give me an awareness check. Difficulty 3.
Cool. 4 successes.
Okay. This room appears to have been completely sealed off from the inside, so you're not seeing any other points of danger. I mean, this is a horrific crime scene, but you're not detecting any other threat within the command and control area. And it's not a particularly big room. This is definitely just an auxiliary command and control area for the back half of the ship.
Can I go ahead and take the pistol?
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm gonna take the plasma pistol because you don't want to drop that one. That's a pretty solid one. And
it's an incredibly valuable pistol. If you go into the items, and go to equipment core and you search down for Mark III Sun Fury plasma pistol, you should be able to drag it onto your character sheet.
what's it called again? I'm sorry, plasma.
MK3 Sun Fury.
Oh, so it's not.
Yes.
So I'm in equipment core.
All you have to do on the items directory at the very top of the items directory, there's a search
MK.
items bar. Just type the name in there and it'll pop up.
MKIII, and it should pull it up. It's the only. Otherwise, I can drop it on your character sheet for you.
I'm not seeing it when I search for it. So
Yeah, all I'm seeing is Aquila Mark 7 and Tacticus Mark 10.
All right, I'll drop it on for you.
I'd like to point out that Jeff always
be there
automatically assumes I'm too stupid. All right,
It should be there
I don't
now.
know if-
It didn't have they didn't have
Got it.
permissions to see it, but it should be visible now.
Sorry.
I see it now.
So I just drag it into weapons. Okay. All right, got it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make people aware of, like, hey, it seems as if we have ourselves an Inquisitor that found himself a little bit of a difficulty up here with what seems to be a mutant of some sort. His nipples have become mouths. I want to point that out to everybody, that his nipples are now mouths. Okay.
This is an Ashley question. If he's dead, shouldn't he have like dissolved and disappeared like all of the other infected ones?
If he was infected by a Nurgle rot, that's possible. But based on what you're seeing,
This is a Nurgle.
Gavious, you would suspect that this individual was probably part of a Slaneshi.
Yes. So from what I can notice, due to the location of said mouths, specifically being on nipples, you're shaking your head, Jeff, but I'm telling you right now, this lines up with Slaneshi backgrounds, because nipples are a big deal with Slanesh, all right, because it's very sexualized. We seem to have one of my Inquisitorial brothers have gotten into a conflict. Can anyone hear my baby just going nuts in the background, by the way?
No.
No,
okay,
you're
good.
solid.
No.
She's just like, bah! My Inquisitorial brother seems to have gotten in a fight with a Slaneshi demon. We are not just dealing with a Nurgle chaos encounter here. We have a Slanesh, a demon of Slanesh origin as well. It seems that they have taken at arms to one another and destroyed, but luckily this heretical being has been dispatched of by my brother. He has a slate. Can I see if the slate is encrypted? Is it easily opened up? Is it easy to access?
With your Inquisitorial seal as an interrogator, you're able to access this Inquisitorial slate, and it is parts. It's this interrogator's notes, and it's also reference material written from an Inquisitor dated 495 M41. The Inquisitor in question was named Ravener, and it's coded in Glossia. So give me a scholar check, DN5.
I just perked up pretty hard. You're saying Ravenor.
Yeah.
What was this again?
So I need a scholar check, difficulty 5. You can get an assist on this from anybody else if they have scholarly skills.
I would love some assistance if anyone can, because I'm only at a 4.
Beric is very scholarly. He's
Yeah, I could too.
scholastic.
So
legendary Ravenor.
Beric and Celeste, what are your scholar? How many points you have in scholar? Just
so I have 4 in intellect and 2 in scholar. So 2.
Okay, 2.
I'm sorry, 3 in scholar. I always
3.
forget.
Okay.
There's-
Oh, I have 2 in scholar.
Okay, so you get 5 bonus dice, Gavious, as you're looking at this.
So on the dice pool, the right side, I put 5.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And so base 5, and I have 9 dice. All right.
You get 6 successes and a wrath critical. Excellent. Gloria actually can't go quite that high. It can only go to 7. So, what you are able to discern from this as you translate the Glossia is that this journal details Ravenor's search for an organization called the Cognite, and particularly their investigation and his investigation into Enuncia and people or persons with the pariah gene and how to locate them. You also see further in this interrogator's notes that he himself was a blank and had the pariah gene. And perhaps
The Inquisitor that's in the room?
interrogator who's dead at your feet, Bastian von Helsinger, was a blank. And possess the pariah gene. And for those who don't know, that means you're very, very difficult to be affected by psychic powers or demons.
You can also nullify other people's psychic powers. Guys, I can really get into this if you'd like me to. You have 3 hours for me to talk about more lore with 40K?
Not today.
Oh, okay.
Let's go.
Later.
In addition, with your investigation check rolled over, you see that the Ministorum Confessor himself had a coded journal on him. I'm going to roll your scholar check over on that, and you're cross-referencing it against the information you got off the Inquisitor's slate. It contains heretical information about Slaneshi worship, makes inferences to a Slaneshi cult within the Veronius flotilla, and is specifically looking into the cult's investigation into something that they call the Word. But under close inspection, that's all the information that you can gather from the 2 documents.
All right. I'm going to... did they see me look at these documents?
But yeah, because they had to help.
Yes.
You,
Okay.
with
So
the translation.
Can you guys help me out with this real quick? Don't look. Okay. That's fine. All right. Then I'll make sure they understand like what's going on, debrief them of the situation. Hey, this was a Slaneshi thing, blah, blah, blah. And this is some data collected by a legendary Inquisitor known as Ravenor. And he's looking for specifically some blanks and all that stuff. So letting them know what's going on. And then I'm going to step aside so someone can figure out some stuff with these consoles.
Okay. So you pull the 2 bodies away. The interrogator's Spathian plate, the liquid chrome adamantium flows around his body because it's still active. The Ministorum Confessor's robes tear, and you see other horrible mutations on his body that he's obviously been hiding. But the console is clear. You wipe away the blood and the guts. What would you do? What would you like to do? And who would like to do it?
If the console is clear, I think Beric will sort of reach out, try to commune with whatever machine spirit might still be within here, trying to understand the state of the bridge, what can be done between here in the bridge, that kind of like anything he could potentially glean from that communion is probably what Beric would be doing.
Simple difficulty 3, and obviously if you get shifts, you can get more information or do additional tasks.
Okay.
And so if there's anybody else with tech skills or something that want to help, they can provide some assistance. But
No tech.
Tech is here, say to me. I have 0.
Nice.
I have
nice.
int.
yeah, I mean, int would work too. Like if you're really smart, you want to be like, hey, maybe we should look at this or something like that. You can provide.
Yeah,
Just
I
let
have
me know if you need me to shoot it. Otherwise, I'll
4
send it over here.
int.
Okay, so
Can
you can
you
take
shoot
4 bonus
Gavious?
dice.
All right. Difficulty 3, you said?
Yeah, difficulty 3 and additional shifts, or if you get a whole bunch of successes, I'll give you more info.
All right, so that is 4 successes with a wrath complication.
All right, I know what the complication is going to be, so you don't have to roll it.
Okay.
But 4 successes is enough. So you can re-roll some of those dice if you want to spend a wrath point, obviously.
Yeah, I think
re-roll
I'll
all
just
the
gonna
failures.
spend the one that I just earned from completing my objective, and then so I'll just spend it, and then I will. Yeah, I'll just re-roll them, and it's as many. Is it as many I want?
All
Is there a
failed
limit?
dice, except for the wrath complication. You can't re-roll that, but all the 3s you can re-roll.
All right, so let me re-roll. Okay, so that's 11 successes.
Oh, very nice. 3 possible shifts. Okay, you're going to get a ton of information. I love it.
Nice.
So the first thing you realize immediately is that this Ministorum Confessor had used some stolen code and had been in the system and had begun the process of systematically shutting down and disabling the Geller field projectors around the ship. And that's what caused the ship to fall into the warp storm as some of the Geller fields started to fail. And it appears that their intent was to cause a complete failure of the Geller fields in the ship right as it transitioned out of warp and into the Gilead system. However, they were not able to complete the coded sequence because they were interrupted by this interrogator who stopped them. So they were partially successful, and that's what caused the cataclysm that happened to the throne's tiers. In addition, you're able to coax the machine spirit into communion with you, and you're able to pull up the internal aspects, and you can see that several sections of the ship never lost their Geller field. So several, including the docking area. That's why you think that the docking bay, is completely intact and nobody was showing any signs of any kind of corruption. You are detecting still 4,000 biosigns active on the ship out of the 7,500 ship's complement, though you can't tell whether or not they're corrupted or not corrupted. You are also detecting 1 biosign on the bridge, and you are able to confirm that the power to the navigator's couch is still active. With your successes, you're also able to determine that the way to the Engineerium and the Engineerium itself has been shut down behind the blast doors due to high levels of radiation. However, with your number of successes, you can start the scrubbers to reset and pull the radioactive materials out of the air and flush the system. However, that would take several hours to perhaps a day to completely free the engine section of excessive levels of radiation. You're also able to determine that the path of the bridge it's a clear path straight up through the 3 sets of blast doors between here and the bridge. And with that number of shifts available, you can simply open the blast doors from this location if you would like.
Yeah, I think you would definitely do that. So So I think what Bjerk is probably doing, what it looks like is his hands are just like on the console. He's looking straight ahead. His mouth is like open. Like you see like little arcs of electricity coming out of his like his wrist devices, and he's not typing. It's just everything's kind of connecting to it. He's almost like connecting it to himself. And I feel like he's like his mouth is open, and like you almost hear like almost static or like just like this ticking coming out of his mouth. And then he'll like in a voice that doesn't sound like his own. It just sounds like almost like binary coming out. Like he'll communicate to the rest of them, like everything that he's gleaning as he goes through it. He'll, if he can he start the scrubbers like, and we can just get it started and it's automated once it's going.
Yep.
Okay. And then he'll confirm the navigator. So the navigator should still be intact. And then he opens the doors as well.
Okay, so the far door to the command and control center opens, and it's another hallway continuing down, for another 600 meters to the bridge. There are corridors and passageways that lead off of it. However, you're able to keep the blast doors down for everything except for the main corridor with the number of successes you got, if you want.
Yeah, I think I would. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Is there any other actions you guys want to take while you're here?
Did anybody want that armor on the guy? The weird.
I was going to ask that. Is that like allowed to take? Like it's on a.
I mean,
Well-
I'm not going to stop you. Do whatever you want.
I wouldn't mind taking it. I mean, he's an
I
interrogator.
don't want it, but
I mean, clearly neither of us need it.
He's an
Yeah, it's just-
interrogator. I'm an interrogator. I wouldn't mind taking fallen comrades jammy jams. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Jeff, can you give permissions in there for the
Yeah.
Spathian fighting plate?
Yep, I'll take
Now,
it.
it would take you a couple rounds to get it off him and put it on if you want to try to put it on now, but that's up to you.
We determined that it was the confessor that I recognized who was the one who did this horrible deed to with the
Yes, that is correct. It was he used stolen codes, and it's confirmed that he was the one who was attempting to call. Now you don't know why he was doing it, but it was him who was trying to shut down all of the Gellerfield projectors on the ship. And
just
cause
the
some
fact
sort
that he did that, and he has these mutations now. Celeste is gonna pull out her last pistol and just double tap him in the forehead.
I like it. I like it. So his dead head jerks back as these two las bolts enter and fry whatever was left there.
And as she does so, in the name of the Emperor, I act as she pulls the trigger.
Nice, nice.
It's been revoked.
So, are you guys, Gavious, are you going to take the time to put on the Spathium?
Yeah. I
Fighting
want
plate? Okay.
to put it on because it's gonna.
So
be...
I'll say you were doing that while Bjerk was communing with the machine spirit and getting the information out of it, so that we don't. So feel free to go ahead and equip it. It's not power armor, but it has a power field. It's a pretty nice suit.
So, I'm looking at like my gear because I picked up that plasma pistol. Can I
Mhm.
equip the shotgun and the plasma pistol, or do I have a limit to the things I can hold?
One at a time. I mean, you can only have really one gun equipped at a time.
Okay, I just want to make
Shotgun's
sure
two-handed,
because
yeah.
I understand the bayonet.
Now it's basically a free action to draw a weapon. So, like
Okay.
you can equip in the moment whatever weapon you want to
Yeah.
use. So,
All right, because the bayonet's just a sword of some type. It's just the plasma pistol. I can only have like a plasma pistol or the shotgun at. All right, I just want to make sure.
yeah,
the
whichever one
logistics
you
of
want
this.
to equip and use in the moment, you just say that's the one you draw. You
Okay,
equip
yeah.
That. So, what's the plan?
Make way to the bridge.
We need to make our way to the bridge.
All right. So, are continuing kind of the same marching order, same plan.
Yeah.
All right, so you're moving out quickly, but you're not running. You're making your way. You hear your booted feet pounding against the deck plating, but the closer you get, it's a less metallic sound, and it's a more of a you start to hear a squelching noise. It still looks like a normal ship's corridor, but it doesn't feel like a normal ship's corridor anymore. And it no longer smells like it. It almost smells and feels like you're walking down the throat of some beast. But your eyes are telling you that nothing has changed. Everybody give me a difficulty 5 awareness check. Or you could give me a psychic mastery check if you want, if you've got psychic mastery.
Is that still 5?
Yep.
I definitely went with psychic mastery because I have a psychic mastery of 10. So
roll your
Yeah.
complication on psychic mastery. You succeeded though. And so Celeste succeeded and got a wrath critical.
Only 4 for me. I didn't quite make it.
Never failed.
Wigbert's still distracted by all that nipple talk back in the last room. Constantly like,
Something got some before me.
Gavious, as you're reaching out with your mind and your training, you're feeling the presence. I mean, the overwhelming presence of Grandfather Nurgle pushing down on you. And in that moment of communion, it kind of clicks with you, and you're beginning to realize that there was a war going on this ship between the followers of Nurgle and their purposes and the followers of Slanesh. And they weren't necessarily at cross purposes, but they were almost as if they were trying to one-up one another. And in that moment, in their failure to cooperate, that may have prevented the complete success of whatever they were attempting to do. However, you did succeed on your awareness test, and those of you who did, although the corridor looks normal, it doesn't feel normal, and you're certain that something is coming. So those of you who succeeded, that's Gavious and Celeste, is that it?
Byrrc got 5 as well. There's 5,
Oh,
right?
and Byrrc, the three of you instinctively feel something is coming, and almost just without even realizing you're reacting to it, you dive off the sides into side tunnels as in front of Sister Nora and Wilbert. It's almost, you see now the hallway shift. It goes black and then light and then black and then light and then black and then light. And then it's a throat, this pulsating fleshy mass, and it contracts and then opens wide, and this wave of pestilence comes washing down at you. And right before that happened, you see Byrrc and Gavious and Sister Celeste dive off to the sides. I need you guys to make a decision. Sister Nura and Wilbert Hahn, do you want to try to dash into the one of the tunnels with him, or do you just want to take a breath, hold on to the deck plates, and hope this wave passes over you?
They're jumping, I'm jumping.
Okay.
Hopefully I can react fast enough as well.
Give me a difficulty 5 athletics check.
Spend some glory here. Let's do
You got plenty, yeah.
2.
It's supposed to only be 7.
I think you spent glory after
After the
after.
roll.
Okay.
So if you roll like crazy good, you won't even need it. But then when you
Okay.
spend like your wrath to re-roll it is when you need
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so you can, if you have wrath points, you can spend them to re-roll all your failed dice.
And you can burn the glory then to get extra.
Right after
die.
your re-roll to see what you need, what you still need.
Nura now, after spending the wrath, has 7 successes.
Perfect.
I got
and
5 with the
one
rest.
possible shift.
Okay, so the two of you at the last second dive out, and this pestilence wave, and you can see body parts and stench and filth just wash through the corridor. But right after it washes past you, the lights go dark again for a second, and then they come back up, and you're back in a normal corridor, and you can see straight down, all the way down towards the bridge, no more than 300 meters away now.
What
As you all managed to
heresy.
get away from it. You believe that perhaps the ship is still in flux with the warp, or perhaps being pulled back into the warp, and that these occurrences might be a harbinger for something worse. You continue on, but because you've locked off the rest of the ship, you can now hear, as you're going past, you hear the pounding of hundreds of fists on these closed blast doors that have isolated this main corridor, knowing perhaps that an army of these poxwalkers may have been descending upon you if you had not been able to lock out these doors. But you get close to the bridge, and you're about 10 meters away, and then there's something wrong, though. Above the bridge door, you see a vast yellow organ hanging suspended over the door to the bridge, almost like a giant pulsating tumor filled with fluid and movement within it. What would you like to do?
Sister Nura, just as always, just going to keep her gun just sort of trained, waiting to see if there's going to be anything appearing to move that needs to be shot at.
You're saying this is the giant pus sack above the door, essentially?
Basically, yeah, covering the door into the bridge. It's like a giant pulsating tumor.
Does it look like it's like a? Is it translucent? Is it like opaque? Does it look like there's anything like moving around inside of it?
It is somewhat translucent. You can kind of see like fluid and mucus in it, and there's things in it that are moving. You don't know if it's debris that's moving within the currents of this fluid sac, or if there's actually something alive in it. You can't tell from here.
Flesh. Byrrc's waiting for you all to figure it out.
I'm just trying to think. Should I try and mind probe it? Do you think? See if there's something in there, or do we just kind of burn it to hell? All right,
Something
Well,
you
we
want to
don't
do
have anything
before
to
I
burn.
shoot it.
Oh, I can smite it,
Oh,
so I can burn it. So yeah, I'll smite the door with So concentrate destructive power through the lens of my will, summoning lethal bolts of raw psychic energy to blast my enemies into ash. So I'm gonna do that.
Okay.
So
And what's the distance on that?
It is within range to make a psychic master will test against their defense.
Okay.
So it doesn't say really any range. It's one of my talents. It doesn't say the range.
Okay. I think you're good. You're about 10 meters away. So let it rip.
Do I click the move, the ability? Is that what it did?
You should be able to click the ability.
Okay.
If it's not working, then click your Psychic Mastery test instead.
That's Psychic Mastery. With a base of what?
Defense 1.
Okay.
All right.
And I'll shift too.
Okay. So you unleash this psychic bolt. You all feel intense cold for a moment, and rime frost kind of coats the exteriors of your hands and your face. You feel a little sick in the pit of your stomach as Gavious unleashes his powers. And then you just see this tumor erupt and burst. You're far enough away that the acid rain that explodes out of it doesn't hit any of you, but it pits and burns through the adamantium deck plate. But after a couple of moments has burned its way through, so it's no longer a risk to any of you. And behind you is and through there is the open bridge.
Shall we proceed?
burn any holes through the bridge door? Can we try and look through and see if there's
There
anything
is
waiting?
no door. It was just covering the entrance to
Oh,
the
got
bridge.
it. Okay.
So you're able to look.
So we can just go
into-
like this.
We can, yes. So Sister
My
Nora is
augmented
gonna
eye
step over.
enhance.
Step over the threshold into the bridge.
As you step over the threshold, you see that there doesn't appear to be power anywhere to the bridge, except for you see the section over where the navigator's sunken couch is, and it's think about like a giant sensory deprivation tank. I mean, it's a sealed off, contained enclosure that he's in. Everything else on the bridge looks ancient. The bridge crew, the command crew that you were sent here to rescue, are desiccated, mummified corpses.
Okay.
Just glancing at them, you'd think that they had been dead for hundreds of years. And flying a slow circuit over the captain's throne is a servo skull.
Eric, I believe you should step up and see what's going on with that little skull there of yours.
And at this point, the Ogren servitor that's been doing nothing except for following behind you slowly makes its way over to the bridge and stops next to the navigator's couch. Doesn't do anything, just stops there.
Byrrc will do what Gavious just said and see if he can inquire about this servo skull.
Once the servo skull hears you, it spins and looks directly at you. Have you come? You're late. You're very late. Very, 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 very late. Very late.
Late is better than never.
Not for the captain. Not for the captain.
The
He
captain is not.
died 250 years ago.
Captain is immaterial. We are here for the navigator.
Navigators has not been seen in the couch. Never came. Never responded.
Never responded.
To queries for ship assist. Captain could not open the couch.
But that's like, is that standard op? Like it kind of locks down in certain situations?
It does lock down. The captain probably would have access
Would
to
have
the
it.
navigator's couch, unless the navigator did not want to let him in.
Interesting.
Oh.
Okay. Are servo skulls capable of like doing any sort of like extrapolative theory craft?
Some of them are. I mean, some of them, depending on the amount of personality that's left and the types of programs that have been uploaded to them. Some of them. Now, if this was the captain's personal servo skull, it's probably a very high end skull.
So I think Byrrc would try to, given the available and collected observational data that the servo skull had at whatever point precipitated, I guess, going through the warp and everything, what would be like the extrapolated conclusions it came to in terms of what might have gone wrong or why the navigator might not have wanted to come out.
Give me either a tech or an investigation roll, difficulty 3.
Okay, I'll do tech, as you might expect.
I might have accepted this.
All right, difficulty 3. I'm gonna rip it. All right, that is 5 successes, 1 shift possible. So I'll just do like extra quality or whatever. Yeah.
So the servo skull comes down, recognizes that you're a servant of the Omnissiah, and you begin to commune with it with binary chatter. So now it's whatever verbal tick it has developed is no longer affecting it. You're able to discern that there was a catastrophic failure of multiple Geller field projectors, as you expected. 256 standard Terran years ago, the ship was lost in the warp, according to the bridge reckoning. The command crew was locked down on the bridge. There used to be a door there, and unable to access the door or the navigators. And because they were unable to access the navigator, they were left basically blind and dumb in the warp. And so they they did everything they could to try to survive. There was no tech priest on the bridge at the time who might have been able to do something about it. And then slowly, one by one, the command crew died from thirst and starvation. And the captain was the last to go in his throne. The servo skull is named Haster Cravo and had been the previous captain of the ship. And when he passed away, his son, the now dead captain, took over, and as is their family's tradition, made his father into a servo skull to continue to serve the family line.
Okay.
He believes that the ship's systems can be brought back online, but without access to the navigator, any changes to ship's navigation would be impossible in real space or warp space.
So we know that this space Hulk is essentially barreling towards a planet.
Enoch. Yep.
Yeah, Enoch. And we have kind of like, if we can get it off, get it to settle, that's great. Otherwise we essentially find another way so it doesn't crash into it. So if that's the case, I think would the priority then being access to navigator, or would priority be trying to get the rest of the systems operational? Like, is there one that would come first that would be more effective?
I guess we'd have to decide. So if you decide that the ship can be salvaged, then getting the ship operational and getting it parked into system orbit would be preferred. However, based on the level of corruption you've seen in the ship, you don't really think that's a viable option. The ship needs to be destroyed. The plasma reactors need to be overloaded.
This bitch has got to burn.
Basically.
That's what we got to do.
I mean, Barrick was leaning that way anyway, because there's a lot of wasted biological sacks on this machine.
So your actual mission.
I was thinking more towards the corruption.
The navigator,
rescue navigator, put in the Ogren.
Command crew's dead.
Right.
The only other non-corrupted people that you know of for sure are the dock workers. But
we don't know for sure, though. They could be hiding it really well.
That is true.
They're all compromised.
Then Byrrc will. Well, no, I want to get out of the way so other people can do stuff. But Byrrc will basically be trying to help the Ogren figuring out a way to get the nav console capsule open so that we can retrieve the navigator.
Perfect.
I'm going to crawl around the bridge and check out the area.
Okay. Give me an awareness check.
Not my specialty. Here we go.
His specialty is cutty, stab. Not so much looking around you.
What you see at each one of the stations, you basically see these poor Imperial servants, died a horrible, wasting death. You find some that had written letters to their family in hopes that someone would eventually find them. You found a couple that clearly took their own lives before it got to that point where, they had wasted away to the point they couldn't do anything about it. It's basically just a horrific scene, but nothing out of the ordinary. It just looked like an ancient bridge that hasn't been kept up for hundreds of years. Anybody else want to?
I guess we just want to try and get this thing open to pop it in the back of the Ogren, right? Is there anything else that the sisters could do?
Celeste, while you guys are dealing with a navigator, she's going to pull upon some strictures that her abbess has laid down, and she's going to go around to all of these people who had passed and basically perform death rites in the name of the Emperor. Just as she goes from person to person to person. If they have letters, she takes them to see if that's something that she can distribute, or any effects that maybe their family might want.
Okay. So you're moving person to person. Sister Nura, is there anything that you or Gavious are doing on the bridge?
Sister Nura is really just making sure that nothing in this room is going to sort of assault us like the path into here. So she's just checking every nook and cranny just to make sure that while they're doing what they're doing, that nothing is going to attack us.
The bridge itself seems pretty stable at this point. You haven't seen any weird shifts. The lights aren't fluctuating. They're on low emergency lights because at least the bridge has been on low power for over a couple hundred years. But you don't see anything else that would jump out and bite you.
She'll basically tell them, if there's something that needs my strength, just let me know.
All right, Beer, give me a tech roll, difficulty 4.
Okay.
But you get a couple of bonus dice from the Ogren, who has certain navigator codes that the Omnicaran matriarch gave. The
Literally just looking that up to see if we were giving anything like that. How many?
2 bonus dice.
2, and then difficulty of 4. Rip it. Okay, that is 6 successes with a shift. What would you recommend for shift? Is there information, or is it just quality? Like making sure I'm opening this without damaging anything or damaging the navigator or anything like that? Or is there something you would suggest?
Either way. I mean, there is information that could be had, so...
Okay, we'll do information then.
Okay.
If that's the case.
As you're cycling through the locks, although the navigator's couch was locked down for the last 250 years, you realize that the navigator locked himself in 15 minutes before the Geller fields were destabilized by that confessor.
Okay. He'll share that info. Specifically with his interrogator, whatever the hell he is, with Gavious.
Didn't even say friend. You can't even say. You're so close.
Because you're not. Like, I don't think Beer has friends. That's just not a thing. That's just not how it functions.
Not as a flesh kind, anyway.
So he will share that that the navigator seemed to have precognition, knew that this was happening, inviting you to theorize on the cause of that.
Yeah, I mean, they do have the ability to kind of like see into the warp, so they could have seen some type of signs before the psychic related beings saw it. Is there a way I could maybe extrapolate on that information on my own?
I mean, what you just said makes complete reasonable sense to you.
Okay. All right. So I guess we would just continue.
Unless he is a heretic himself and he was involved.
Give me...
Don't look at my nipples.
Open his container and I shall end him. We only need to bring back his DNA.
Wait, what?
You can give me an insight check if you want, either Sister Celeste or Sister Nora or Gavious or anyone who wants to attempt to make something out of the information you have. Difficulty 4.
My insight's only 4.
My insight's 2.
Mine's 3.
All right, so I guess I'll do it.
Rip it.
Difficulty of what did you say?
4.
You guys have high insight. I have 1. He doesn't know. He's not good with people.
Oh gosh.
I'll spend my wrath to reroll.
Okay.
And then you can spend glory for additional dice.
Don't need it.
Don't need it. Wrath critical. Okay. Your glory max is 7. So don't forget that, because you guys have been at max for a while now. But what you're sitting there and you're thinking about everything you've learned so far on this ship, and you find it extremely odd that this ship would get lost in a warp storm due to some Geller field, which you now know is caused by this Ministorum Confessor, but then still come out of the warp in the Gilead system where the rest of the flotilla was coming out of, and in a perfect alignment to hit the Shrine World Enoch.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like there's some intelligent design behind what is happening and has happened on this ship. And it's making you think that maybe the navigator, being the only person who could control the trajectory of the ship, there might be something else going on here.
Well, the fear is if we open this, he's got some strong psychic ability. He's not like threat level 10, but he would be able to start to influence us, possibly influence us with his abilities. Most of his stuff is geared towards navigation, not so much towards offense, right? So we
but we have to open it one way or the other, because because even to kill him, we would have to open it. So
we need to, as we're opening it, we need to.
Unless there's a way, Beer could potentially find a way to sabotage the chamber, which I know would be very difficult. Is there any possible way that Beer could, if this is the route that people, because it does seem like intelligence.
Yeah, burn this bitch. We burn this bitch. I'm always going to be burned first.
There's no way to sabotage the navigator's couch from the outside. Now,
Could we take it?
You can't take it. It's like the size of a. It weighs
It's
metric
huge.
tons.
Got
It's like
it,
an
okay.
Impala.
Yeah.
But like
Okay.
heavy.
But I mean, you could just destroy the ship. I mean, you could overload the plasma reactors and just never even look in there.
Is there a way?
We do want his
But we
DNA
need
though.
his DNA.
Is there a way to access DNA or information without actually accessing him? Is there samples on ships, information on ship that we can pull from anywhere
Something
else
on
other than
record,
him? Yeah.
I mean, there's a
Backup
med
storage.
bay on the ship somewhere.
Well,
but-
then we already skipped that
Wait.
up there, Bierk.
What's that? I think we did go to the med bay, which is
Well,
where
you
we
went to the infirmary for the lower docks.
Okay.
I mean, there are several med bays on the ship. There would be one just for the command crew.
I said we
I'm
skipped the
sorry. Am I
chapel.
sensing fear in here
There
from
we go.
opening this? This is not something that
It's
we
not
going to
be
We have a job
great.
to do and we do the job. I can protect everyone a little bit from the effects of psychic power.
I
This is
definitely
the
can
strength
as
of my
well.
faith.
We can open
Then
this thing, get ready
Why
to
are
blast this
you
guy's head
trying
off.
to find the complicated way to do this? We
I'm
open
just
it,
trying-
we take a sample.
Work smarter,
Okay.
not harder, is what I'm saying.
We open it and we kill the heretic, and then we get our sample, Nora.
All right.
Yes, we open it.
Once everyone's ready, Beric will do whatever he's learned as how to open it. Once
So
everyone
the
is
locks,
Yeah.
everybody gets ready. The locks cycle through. The navigator's pod door. You hear all the vacuum seals bursting, and it slowly slides back. You hear the sounds of fluid draining out of the chamber, and then you see it's like this cloud of like a mist coming out from where the two atmospheres are mixing. And standing in the mist, there's a very gaunt figure, and you see him tying a robe around his waist. And this is navigators are very gaunt by their very nature, very tall, very gaunt. You still can't really make him out very well. But then as the mist begins to clear, you see at first coming up from his waist this very sallow complexion. He's wearing a gray robe, sunken cheeks. Then you get to his eyes, which are the black of a navigator, but then you see that he's not wearing a bandana or anything covering his third eye, the navigator's eye. And it's got red veins pulsing through it, and it's got yellow corruption leaking down its cheeks, and the pupil that you would expect to be some other color is the color, the off color of an egg yolk that has started to go bad. And he smiles, and he goes, "Oh, is it time to wake up already?"
Time to explain what has occurred here.
Back to bed for you. I'm gonna shake up in the back.
Before he does that, I want to assist with my talent. what is it called? It's called the Passion. So I can spend a faith, and this character gains double rank bonus to weapon skill test.
Fantastic. So, but first, as you start to move, the eye sweeps across all of you, and I do need a resolve test, difficulty 3.
Can I do a response?
I don't know. Let's see. What is your response?
Is this fear or terror?
Fear?
Can I, in response, deny the witch?
It's not a psychic power.
Oh, damn it. I really want to
Hey,
use that one.
Sisters,
You may get a
do
chance.
do any of the sisters help us with this, by the way? With a fear
It's
test
psychic
for resolve?
power.
Okay.
It's psychic power or corruption.
So just
I don't have-
straight difficulty 3 resolve test against fear.
I would like to re-roll and spend some glory.
I'm going to do the same thing.
How do I spend a glory?
Still figuring that out. Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, it's not particularly obvious in the system.
I like long. Night.
I succeeded. 3.
I'm going to.
Nura also succeeded as a 4. And
I'm spending 2 glory. I don't know how much you're going to spend, Ashley.
I would like to spend 2 as well.
All right, so we're down to 3. I'm keeping track.
And Nura got 1 back.
Okay, so there's the reroll. Oh no, that's not good. And then oh yeah, that I failed. Give up. Give up.
Oh.
I got a 6.
Okay, so that's 2 successes.
So I 3, so I meet.
Okay, you make it. So only Birk, you feel this fear coalesce in your gut. This is something, the Omnissiah teaches the perfection of the machine, and this is something so horribly fleshy that it's not just fear; it's a disgust. So any actions you have to take against this guy, the difficulty will increase by 2 unless somebody makes a leadership test to snap you out of it at difficulty 5.
I'll do that.
However, you also got
Probably
a wrath
initiative.
complication.
I did, I think, yeah.
Yep. So I will say that the fear of it, it so overwhelms you that you fall back and you fall prone against one of these consoles.
Okay.
Not nothing horrible, but we are now officially in initiative. And Wigbert, you may take your action.
Awesome. I'm going to get my death blades and stab him in the back.
Okay. And Sister Celeste, were you using your... You're muted.
Yes, my talent, the Passion. So as a combat action, I spend 1 faith to inspire the Emperor's Wrath. I select Wigbert to gain double rank bonus die to weapon skill tests for this round.
Okay, so if Sister Celeste is taking that action, then that's the first action, and then it goes to an adversary, unless
But
you guys want
could
to spend
glory.
Yes, you can spend a point of glory to seize the initiative. So spend that point of glory, and then Wigbert can go ahead and make his attack.
Awesome. I'll spend it, seize the initiative. So double rank, I just put it on my dice pool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
You do
your
all
double
out
rank
attack?
is 2.
You do all out attack
Oh,
plus
let's see what those
2
do.
and minus 2 plus 2 to your attack, minus 2 to your defense until the start of the next turn.
So it could be a +4 in total, but it would be -2 to your defense.
All out attack it is.
Best defense is a good offense, man.
That's right. Nothing wrong with that.
The exact opposite of the Jets,
All right, just go ahead to mute him.
Ooh, wrath complication. Okay,
see,
7
7 successes.
successes. That does hit. So roll your damage.
11 damage.
11 damage, 2 AP. So it takes his resilience down to 8. And he will roll determination. So I will spend a point of ruin. He will roll determination.
What is an exalted icon?
It's a 6.
Did I roll any of that?
Yeah.
You got a 6.
Yeah, you did.
Yes,
I did
you
sweet. Then I can activate my ability, Blood Must Flow, and I can make him bleed. The condition.
Oh, nice. Okay, so on his turn, he will take bleed damage. He did get 1 success on his determination, so he's going to take 1 point of shock and 3 wounds from your attack, and he has the bleed condition.
Do we get a description of what Wigbert does?
Yeah, I think we need to hear that.
Yeah, I want to know what happens.
Yes, I've been silently watching you guys open this couch. My arm's just dangling to my sides, not moving. As he walks out, his first words is, "Time to wake up already." My arm just swing towards his backside, inflicting the wounds.
Nice.
Just like no like thought about what's like. Oh, I just obviously have to kill this man.
I like the way that he describes it. Like we're opening this couch. Like this is like an old-fashioned sleeper couch that somehow got stuck.
It's
And
his
that's
his
what we've
old
been doing this whole
it's
time.
his old apartment.
It's
The futon he's
it's
been
back in
laying on.
college. This has been stuck for so long. He's been trapped inside.
Okay, so for the bleeding condition, he will take 1 mortal wound. In other words, it bypasses his resilience at the end of his turn, unless he successfully makes a toughness test. And it is his turn. So I think at this point, he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll roll a d10. See who 10, just looking across the top. Okay, so Wigbert, as your blades come across and slice into him, his third eye opens even wider. What is your defense?
It is 3, but dropped to 1 because all out attack.
That's right. Okay.
Oh,
That's a lot of dice.
He did get a
Wow.
wrath complication, so that's going to be fun. But he got 8 successes. So your soul begins to shrivel within you as you feel the horrific. You see through his eye into the warp, and the warp sees you.
Could I deny the witch now?
This is also not a psychic. This is his navigator's eye.
What? Oh gosh.
But his next thing you'll get to do. You take 1 mortal wound. So you can't bypass that with resilience. So you just take the wound. And I need you to make a difficulty 3 conviction test against corruption.
Three.
Oh,
I pass. All right.
You're good. You take no corruption, but he does have to roll a peril of the warp check for his navigator's eye. Let's see what we get here. Surging warp energies. The air seemed to shimmer and distort. All creatures within 25 meters of you suffer 2 dice of shock, and I get 1 point of wound. For the remainder of the scene, all psychic mastery tests that don't result in a 1 or a 6 on the wrath die, that wrath die has to be re-rolled. So that's going to be some fun.
I like how
Okay,
we
so-
have a little assassin slowly going crazy over time.
Everybody takes 2 points of shock as not only does Wigbert see into the warp, you all see a reflection of the warp off of the energies of Vitali Omnikara's eye. Is anybody near their maximum shock? I don't think anybody.
yes. I
probably.
actually had a question about that. So I took 3 shock last session. Like,
Mhm.
how does shock?
You can
reset?
spend wrath to heal shock, or you can get shock back after basically a long rest.
Okay,
Or
well
you
then
can
I'm up
get
to 5 shock.
One of these
And
things.
what's your maximum shock?
6.
Is that your maximum shock? Oh, okay. You're good then.
So I'm
When you
at
get-
5.
Anybody
And
gets to
my max
maximum,
is
let
6.
me know, because then you become exhausted and other things happen.
I'm 1 away.
Okay, it is back to your guys' turn.
Gavious is. The Byrric's probably going to wait until he'll probably go last or until after Gavious.
All right, so I will. Let's do a psychic shriek.
Nice.
So I'm gonna target's willpower. You unleash a blast of psychic energy to attack the mind of your enemy nearby. The target immediately takes 1d3 plus 3 shock and must make a successful 5 willpower test to be staggered. So I want to do that.
Okay.
So
it's attack against his defense or his willpower. What did you say?
Willpower.
Okay. His willpower is 8.
So how do I roll this
8.
again?
So you should just be able to roll your psychic mastery, put difficulty 8 in there.
Psychic mastery, difficulty 8.
You got 4 successes, and you have to re-roll your wrath die because it was not a 1 or a 6.
Oh no.
And actually, you should be rolling 2 wrath die because of the nature of this Space Hulk. But I'm going to let that slide for this time. But re-roll that. Just roll another d6 and see if you get a 1 or a 6. Keep going. All right, there you go. So wrath, you got a wrath critical. It doesn't actually add anything for psychic powers, though. So, but that does give you 2 more successes. So you're up to a total of 6 successes. You need 8. You can, if you've got any willpower left, you can re-roll your failed dice. If you don't,
I don't have any wrath left.
Or wrath left. That's sorry. Then you can still spend glory to roll additional dice. You guys have 3 glory left. You can spend as much as you want, as long as everybody's okay with it.
Does anyone have I'll do 2. Is everyone okay with me doing 2?
On a spell that's going to do staggered and just have his run speed.
I'm gonna do 1 then.
Just say
so, just 1 d6 then. Yeah, so I'll just do 1. So just 1 more d6. So
Just roll a d6. I'll take the glory down for you. 6, 2 more successes. You got an 8. So it was how much shock?
It is 1d3 plus 3.
Okay, so
shock.
roll your shock.
D3 is the first one? That's a
Yep.
D4.
No, that's a d4. Just roll a d6 and we'll half it. Okay. So you see him get staggered by this wave of psychic energy. And he looks blank for a moment and put out, and you have exhausted him. You've exceeded his shock. So, for those at home and those here, if you're exhausted, weary from battle, or fatigued by some psychic power, on your turn you can only walk or crawl or perform a basic combat action. So you can't take like multi-attack or multi-action, or you can fall back. Additionally, you can no longer roll determination for as long as you are shocked or exhausted. So that's actually pretty good, because now he can't roll determination to recover wounds.
So that's me then, right? So
that is you, and I'm going to say because he's exhausted, he normally has multiple attacks that he can do. But I'm going to say because he's exhausted, he can only do 1 attack per turn, and he has already taken his attack this turn. So you guys are back up.
So for now on, just so I know, because I'm reading what Jeff put, staggered for him is pointless because he's all psychic, right? If he was,
you still did the shock stuff. Like you still,
but if I would have still done a basic attack, I would have probably gotten that shock. So staggered is more for like a guy coming at you.
You slow him down to half speed.
All right, now I know. Okay. Well, I still got the job done. Yeah.
Hey, the Space Hulk is all about learning. That's what we're here for. Or for me to kill you all. One of the two.
That's 2 sessions in a row. Justin's like, yeah, I'll roll leadership for you. Turn comes around, doesn't roll leadership for me.
I forgot about that. Oh yeah. Now I see why you wanted me to go before you.
Yeah. There you go, buddy. It's all good.
Well,
you're,
Jeff-
new to you're new to TTRPGs. It's all good. It's all good.
Jeff,
It's
this
all good,
time
dude.
around, I definitely got you. Okay.
Okay, who's up?
I guess Sister Nura will do some shooting.
Any special actions you want to take? He's within short range. You get 1 bonus die already, but you're not engaged with him. So, I mean, you're far enough away from him that the engaged rules don't apply.
So there's +1 for that. I don't think there's anything in particular that would be necessarily beneficial. So I think I'll
I
just
mean,
do the-
you can, instead of moving, you can just take the aim action, and that would give
So
you
then
an
I'll get
additional
+2.
dice. Yep. Or like you
Yeah.
could target a specific part of his body with like a called shot. Like if you wanted to blow out that eye that's messing everybody up, you could try to do that. It would increase your difficulty to hit him by 3, but you'd get additional damage dice on top of it. I mean, so those are different kinds of options you could go through. And also, like Gavious in your last round, he could have taken a multi-action, did the leadership roll, and then did the psychic attack. It would have increased the difficulty number by 2 for each of the actions. But we're learning.
Well,
we're learning. Redfall, we're learning.
I'm gonna try to be a hero and and do the leadership.
All right. All right. So make your leadership roll first.
Okay. Which
It's
will now be difficulty
5.
All right.
Well, if she's doing multi-action, isn't it difficulty 7?
Oh, yeah. Difficulty 7. Sorry. Thank
Oh,
you.
damn.
Do you guys 6 successes? Do you have any wrath points left?
No.
There is 2 points of glory. You could roll an additional die. Or 2.
I'll do 1.
Okay.
Come on. I rolled a 1.
Oh.
No.
So you're not able to shake Barrick
All
out
right.
of his fear and disgust of this thing. But what did you
Tried.
say to him to try to get him to shake out of it?
That we have a job to do. We're just gonna and role playing the failure. She's just like there's work to do. Just do the job. Just do the job. While she's trying to aim and shoot all at the same time.
Okay. So
it would have been different had I succeeded, but clearly I failed. So it was useless.
Can't
like
see
that.
why she wasn't able to inspire you. I'm confused.
Exactly.
Rick's like, I opened the damn thing. That was my job. What are you talking about? He's just confused right now, not even scared anymore.
So with your aim and being in close range, you get 2 extra dice on your shot. The difficulty is 5 though because of the multi-action.
Okay, so difficulty is 5, but I get 2
Bonus
dice.
dice.
That looks like an awful roll.
Ooh,
No, 5
You got 5,
successes and
but
a
you-
wrath complication.
got a complication. So roll your damage first.
Oh,
Out of
I
ammo.
am
Okay.
Out of
That's
ammo.
fine.
That's
So yeah, you
absurd.
reach up, you fire, boom, and then your magazine runs dry. It's okay. You've got 3 reloads with you. And it's just a simple action to reload next round. But roll your damage.
13. Brutal rapid fire.
Brutal rapid fire. Okay, rapid
So,
fire. you
Not
are
rapid
within
fire
the
because I
rapid
ran
fire.
out of ammo.
Well, we'll say that's why you ran out of ammo, because you are within range for rapid fire to work. And rapid fire means if you hit with rapid fire weapon at short range, you gain extra damage dice equal to the rapid fire rating. So roll 2 more d6.
Sweet. 7.
It's a 4 and a 6, so you get an additional point of damage, so 14 points of
7.
damage. Take off his resilience. So this round, you see him looking towards you. You know, he's exhausted. He's shaking a little bit. This round strikes him center mass and explodes his chest. But the explosion ripples through his body, and then you see his eye begin to glow, and his entire body explodes.
Oh gosh.
Whoops.
And everybody within the blast radius takes 6 points of damage minus your resilience. Now, what you can do, because this is a blast effect, you can use the full defense action. If you've already acted this turn, that means you're using your full action for next turn. But it's basically you're diving for cover. So if you want to do that, you roll your initiative roll. And for every success and every additional icon you get, you add that to your resilience against this attack. If you
Sister
want to
Nura
try
has
that.
a resilience of 10, so she just kind of just stands there and
Yeah,
takes
with your
it.
armor, yeah. Sister of Battle, it's like,
Yeah. I'll step in front of someone because I haven't gone yet to help take the blast damage for them.
who do you step in front of?
-6, so I tank it as well.
I have resilience of 8, so I'm fine.
I also think it.
Oh, okay, so no, you guys
She
just
still steps in front of Wigbert because he was kind of being weird.
okay. Sister Celeste, go ahead and give yourself back a wrath point for being willing to sacrifice yourself to save a comrade. You step in front of Wigbert. You guys see his body explode, basically down to nothing, and then it gets sucked back in to a pool of blackness on the floor at your feet. And you see a spindly long arm reach up out of the pool and clamp down on the deck. And then you see a face emerge. And though it's horribly difficult to tell, it looks like this was once the face of the Sister Hospitaller, Hart, who you most recently killed. But her two eyes have merged into a single eye square in her head. And she has a long horn coming out of the blackened crust of her forehead. You see her body, the ceramite plates and rags of her robes are hanging off of her distended and swollen, pox-marked body. Raw, fleshy pockets of mucus are leaking bile down her torso, and a cloud of rancid rot and black blight flies hang in the air around her festering body. She stands, and you guys are all just sort of stunned in the moment as she reaches through into her guts and pulls out a crusted, jagged, black iron blade from her intestines. And then she smiles, and with that same voice that you heard from Sister Hart, just not even more than an hour ago, she simply asks, "Did you miss me?" As this plague-ridden monstrosity faces off against you. I need everybody to make a difficulty 3 resolve test.
Fear or terror?
Fear.
Okay.
Sorry.
If I'm already suffering from the fear effect, does that
Actually, the
impact
fear
this at all?
effect on you went away as soon as the navigator
Okay.
died. So this is a new fear effect for you.
Cool. Difficulty. All right, so I got to get rid of
Difficulty
the other fear
3.
then because that affects me.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
Nura succeeded and got a complication.
All right.
I have no hope because my resolve is 2.
Yeah, same. Some of the
You can
numbers
always
on this
use
don't
glory
make
to roll an
sense.
additional die.
Oh, well, yeah, because it what? Target 3, right?
Target 3. Yep.
Uh,
So if you've got, if you've got a wrath point, you can use it to re-roll, and then you can also roll glory to roll an additional point.
well, because I got 2 successes, so I don't need to re-roll.
Okay.
I just need another dice.
You can spend a point of glory.
Are you guys cool with that?
Yeah.
Good.
3. I don't think that passes.
Nope.
Bummer.
So Talav, Wigbert, and Celeste, all have the fear condition, so that's additional 2 difficulty to any of your rolls.
Okay.
Gavious passed and Nura passed with a complication. So, what is the complication? I think the complication is that you feel this chainsword on your back begin to shift and grind and start to rev up as this corrupted blade seeks the hand of its mistress again. You're going to have a difficulty on this next round, or until you drop this blade using a combat action to get rid of this blade. You're in difficulty for any action is going to increase by 1 as this thing is grinding against the ceramite plates of your back.
Okay.
But we're back to sort of normal initiative, and you guys get to go first. What
I don't think
do?
if it's the same initiative, it's like Sister Celeste and I actually haven't acted.
It's a different creature, but let's go with it. You and Sister Celeste haven't done anything, so one of the 2 of you go next.
I can cast something on you.
I mean, the big thing for me is like the fear effect just adds 2 to all my difficulty on rolls. So if you have something that either rids that or counterbalances that, that would be a good way to boost me.
I don't. All I have is something that gives you bonus willpower, or I can give you triple the number bonus dice on a roll.
Okay. On assists and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Like that's when you like help out. I don't know if that happens in combat. If we can,
you can. You can do it. I would allow.
I could cast the passion again, which gives you double on weapon skills, though.
That's my jam. Weapon skills, my jam. For my staff.
So I could cast the passion on you.
Okay.
I just can't do a leadership thing on you.
That's cool.
That's fine. Have a shit roll.
We are clearly a leaderless party, is what this is.
You feel the Emperor's light, or perhaps it's the Omnissiah's light, as you see it wash over you.
Celeste just kind of steps behind you, and she just places her hand on your back, so you're aware that she's there as she's chanting behind you, and then she just kind of nudges you forward and says, "Kill her."
Okay. I'm glad it's you. I feel like you're the only one Byrrc really likes.
It's the legs.
Yeah, it is.
The legs.
It is.
It is. It's the legs.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's this plague-ridden version of the sisters' turn, unless you want to spend a point of glory and seize the initiative.
Sure. I'll do it because she'll probably do something to hurt me. So I'll spend the glory to seize the initiative. And then...
All right, her.
Okay. So then with the hand on his back, Byrrc will feel like... For him, it's like he feels like the motive force beginning to like resonate. He feels like himself... Like he's still afraid, but at the same time, he probably recognizes the only way of like ridding himself of this silly sort of biological emotion is to focus and push forward. So he's going to sort of stamp it down, and he will free action stand up from prone. Then he will standard action close the distance to her because he got knocked back, and then he will attack with his weapon. I think is what he was going. And then what he's going to do.
Double rank bonus dice to weapon skill.
I think I'm
So
in the
rank is one,
Wigberg
so it's
school
two.
of it. I'm in the Wigberg. So is all out attack a standard action, or is that like that's not a full round action? Full round action is charge. So yeah, so I can do an all out attack. So I'll do all out attack. Okay. And so what did I get for that, Ashley?
Double
plus
ranked.
2.
Yeah.
So 2 more. Okay.
Well,
All right.
Your rank 1. Your tier 2 rank 1.
Yeah. But we
Got
get
it.
double. I get double rank, so it should be 2 total, right?
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So it's going to be. So effectively, I'm getting 4 bonus between the all out and Sister Celeste, which will counter some of that. Okay. And what's the DN?
Her defense is 4 as she brings her blade around as you charge in.
Okay. So he is just like cackling with electricity now as his staff is beginning to thrum, and he will just push past and run in and leap like anime style and just sort of smash down with the electroleech staff. At least it will try. Okay, that's 5 successes. How is there? I'm trying to remember what the. I do have Wrath. I have 1 more point of Wrath. I'm gonna spend my point of Wrath to re-roll the rest of that. So
That's just a right click.
Because that is a ton of stuff. Oh wait, that's right. It does it automatically, doesn't it?
It'll do it for you. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, 7 that I'm doing that with. Okay, so that's 9 successes with 1 shift possible, which I will. I'll go extra damage, so I can shift. Yeah, so that's 1 extra damage die to it. Okay.
Could you? Is a possibility? Could you shift to disarm a person?
No, disarm is a special action, and you can do that.
Got it.
Someone
Okay, cool.
might, but I know one mode. Okay, so then I get. So it's like I'm trying to remember how damage works again. So I have like 6. I got my normal 6 die for my weapon, and then
an additional d6 for the shifted extra damage die. So if you roll damage, it'll add to the base damage, and then whatever extra damage dice you roll will potentially add additional damage to it.
All right, so let me do one more. Okay, no. So 14 points of damage minus 2, agonizing and brutal.
Okay, so it takes her resilience down to 7, so she will take 7 wounds, and agonizing also causes shock damage. So it does, I believe, damage to both. I think. Let me double check on agonizing.
Yeah, agonizing is designed, so it's designed to inflict maximum pain. So every wound inflicted by an agonizing weapon also inflicts 1 shock.
Okay, so that's what I thought. So minus 2, 7. So she takes 7 wounds and 7 shock. Wow.
And because I dealt 1 or more wounds with my Electroleech staff, I actually get my Siphon Vigor will come into play. So whenever I deal 1 or more wounds with my Electroleech staff, I can recover an amount of shock equal to the number of wounds you just dealt. So I basically go back to 0 shock. I'm recovering 2 shock. So.
Remember when we had Sisters of Battle with power armor, and it turns out Robot Boy does the most damage in the entire.
Imagine if I had 2 extra dice if you rolled leadership.
Sometimes people forget that.
My goal is to make him do more
turned into
damage.
a black puddle is staggered. No, sorry.
Love it. But this demon is still on its feet, and you see it. You see the wounds that you struck on it begin to close.
Didn't you say with Justin Shock though that he can't roll determination to heal wounds?
That was the other guy.
If you're exhausted,
it's dead.
if you're
I
exhausted,
forgot. This is a different thing. Okay, cool.
Yeah. This is a demon that has come. So most of the wounds that you inflicted upon it close up right after your stave pulls off. But then this being swings its plague sword at Birk, unless somebody wants to spend the last point of glory to seize the initiative.
Yes, let's spend the glory and seize the initiative.
Okay.
I mean, that's good for you guys, because if he hurts me, I hurt everybody. I get to trigger some more of my abilities if he hits me, so I'm okay with it.
Okay. So
I probably shouldn't have been the one to do that, because so can I
you can reload as a simple action, and then you still have your combat action.
Yeah, but I have to get rid of the thing on my back.
Yeah, that's true. Or you can leave it. It just increases your difficulty by 1 as it kind of moves around on your back and throws you off. So if you don't move and take the aim action, they would just offset one another.
I'll just do that. I'll just do that and shoot, and everything's just straight.
Now, what's the salvo rating on your bolt gun?
Two.
So the way that works, like you can use the salvo option, and since you're just firing at one creature, that would, if you do that, it gives you 2 extra dice. But the downside is you run through all of your ammunition in this magazine. So you would have to reload again next round, and you'd be down to just 1 more reload.
No.
But you get the 2 extra.
No, I'll not do that.
Okay.
Okay, and the difficulty is 4?
The difficulty for you is 4.
Okay.
And of course, there are other options. Like if you wanted to try to bypass some of its armor, you could take a penalty to the difficulty to try to reduce some of its resilience. There's some other things you can do like that, or there is the disarming shot, like Sister Celeste was asking about, where you shoot at the weapon. The target has to make a strength test against half of the damage rolled, and if they fail, they drop the weapon, but they don't take any damage from the attack. So there are trade-offs there.
I feel like I'm here to do damage, theoretically.
I like
So that's what I'm going to do. See if I can do more damage than Beric did.
Speaking of which,
5 successes.
I did an extra point of damage. Because I have a brutal weapon, 3s do actually count as damage on brutal weapons. So that 3. So if it mattered, I don't know if it did.
It will matter.
So 5 successes. No possible shifts. I'm going to roll damage. Oh, mine is also brutal, so 12 damage.
12 damage, rapid fire. You're in close range, so roll 2 more dice.
That is a 4 and a 6. So that
that's
should be
3 more points
3
of damage,
more.
so 15 points of damage. So you're describe what it looks like when your bolt round hits this. You don't put her down. You don't put this demon down, but you do hurt it.
She definitely has to kind of take a really wide stance because she's got this thing in her back that's just kind of like writhing and moving all over. So she's kind of very deliberate about kind of taking this wide stance and shooting. And again, she's really just kind of trying to kind of see this time if she's just kind of going for the head, just kind of see if she can shoot at this thing with her bolt gun.
And you crater this huge section of this thing's head out, and it slowly starts to heal. But I mean, you're starting to be able to see through the demon now. Your guys are doing a lot of damage to it.
Aaron, I don't think the damage is rolling correctly. So what's her defense?
Defense is 4, resilience is 9.
So then for me, I would have had 4 extra damage die on my roll. And then Nora would have had, I think Nora would have had her 1. So she had her 1, but I would have actually had 4. For some reason, it didn't factor in like the successes that exceed its defense. So like the things that you can shift, right? Don't you shift?
Well, you can only shift 6s.
Oh, okay. You can only shift 6. Okay, that's right. Exalted. All right.
Yeah. So this time it swings. It is you can only steal the initiative once, and it is engaged with Byrrc, so its plague sword comes swinging around. What is your defense after you're all out?
1 would be the correct answer.
All right. Let's have some fun with this. Okay. 13. What's your resilience?
Oh, gosh.
My resilience is 6.
6. So you take 5 points of 5 wounds.
Okay. But I can roll determination against these.
That's right, and shift them over to shock.
So I will go ahead and do that. How many wounds did you say it was?
5.
5. Okay. All right. So then that was how many was that?
3 shock
3?
and 2 wounds.
Okay. Got it.
But you feel the corruption again spreading through your body as you've been poisoned by it. So the difficulty of all of your actions going forward increased by 2 more.
Dude, come on.
Until you make a toughness test, difficulty 7, or somebody does a Medicaid check on you to get rid of the poison. Or
We've
until
got people
combat
that can
ends.
do Medicaid.
It's back to your guys' turn. This thing is, again, it's starting to waver, and you're starting to be able to see through it. Its connection to the material world is fading.
If no one else will go, Celeste, if she's behind Burek, she'll do the Medicaid roll.
Okay, difficulty 7.
You sure you want to do that? You're going to lose.
I want to do something actually, by the way. So something would have triggered. I'm just reading it right now. Okay, so sorry guys. Whenever let's see. So I'm going to trigger where the hell is it? Right of the Voltageist. When I'm hit by a melee attack or a complication is rolled on an attack test that targets you, your attacker suffers shock damage equal to my rank, which would be 1. In addition, she has to pass a toughness DN3 test.
Just her?
Just her.
All right.
So that's one thing.
Toughness DN3.
Figuring out talents and abilities.
This is not the one that affects everybody. This is just for her.
She got 6 successes,
Okay.
but a complication. So what else you got?
No, that's about it. Like as long as she passed, she's good. So she
The
does.
complication
she's
is as that electricity. I mean, it doesn't harm her, but she drops her sword. Causes her hand to flex open, and she drops her sword.
Okay. Wigbert, did you want to go?
I was just going to say, if you were to heal, it's back to the enemy's turn. So it'd be like losing.
Got
No.
it. Yeah.
Not until
really?
well, you don't know for a fact. You don't know that this creature doesn't have 2 actions, but generally speaking, once all the bad guys have gone, you guys just get to go until the top of the next round.
Oh, okay. I thought it was alternating with it.
It is until like everybody's gone. Like all of my bad guys at this point, as far as you know, have gone. So
Yeah, it's like we were like fighting a group of 5 people or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that I wouldn't want to do that. You're right. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'll still rip it. Done. 7 successes.
oh man, all right. So the poison. So Sister Celeste is working behind you as you feel her drawing this corruption out of your body. Between her connection to the Emperor and her skills as a hospitaler, she's able to remove this poison condition from you.
I feel like
Badass.
you're getting like electroshocks whenever you touch me, by the way. It's just
Yeah,
sort of
just, like,
cascading off my
static.
electro. Yeah.
It's making like my one eye, my augmented eye, kind of go a little crazy.
A little
But
twitchy.
Come on. Don't get very too excited here. Calm down.
All right.
But because I can't do anything else, or could I do a double action but at a increased difficulty? Of
You would
2?
have had to affect the difficulty, which you already did.
yeah, it
Got it,
would
okay.
have made it a difficulty 9 for.
Got it. Okay, yeah, never mind. I would have had to call that beforehand. Got it.
Wigbert, I think you're the last person to act. Am I right? Wrong here?
I think Gavious also needs to.
Gavious? Okay.
I'll
well-
let Stabby do his job.
Is this are we in a new round?
Nope,
It's like-
nope, not yet.
Okay, well then that is the end because everybody went once at this point.
Okay.
If we were rolling over initiative from the earlier version of the creature.
Then we're at the top of the round.
Yeah.
And you guys get to go. Who wants to go?
So Wigbert, go for
Yeah,
it.
I'll continue my fear of blows. I'll just grit my teeth through this fear and strike it.
So your difficulty with the fear is the difficulty number is 6.
Okay. Is 5 enough? If not, I can wrath point it.
5 is not enough.
Yeah, you need 6, right?
You need 6. So you can spend a wrath point and re-roll the 3 that failed.
Got 8 this time. Still
Okay.
got a complication.
Yeah, you can't re-roll the complication. So we'll deal with your damage first. So you got 8 successes and a shift, which you can shift for more damage if you'd like.
Let's see. Yeah, I'll just do the extra damage.
Okay, so just roll your damage. 9 minus 2. Okay, so what does it look like when you send this demon back to the warp?
All the pustules and flesh tumors on it. I'm just striking everyone, popping each one. There's pus and goo flying everywhere. I'm striking at his weak points afterwards, and it's just everything mixed together. It's a shower.
And you hear this wailing scream from what was once Sister Heart as this demon's body discorporates and falls back into the warp. And you are left alone on the bridge. Battered, tired, hurt, but intact. The fear effects have all faded away now that the creature of the warp is gone. What would you like to do? The ship is still hurtling towards Enoch.
We need to set this thing to go kablooey.
Yeah, get off
Someone
the
could probably
ship.
do it from this command ship, from this command point.
So Sister Neuro is trying to figure out if there is DNA to gather. As that was the mission.
There is nothing left that is not tainted by corruption.
Okay. And she will be a little bit slow to respond, and just like, this is a failure of a mission. This was a very clear mission to gather this, and she'll kind of look to the tech people.
So what about, Wigbert stabbed the guy. What's on your blades?
The navigator's DNA was thoroughly corrupted.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
By his Nurgle infestation.
Gotcha. Okay. I misunderstood. Okay.
Yeah. You guys would know that, it's particularly Gavious and Sister Celeste would know that to take any corruption back with them would be absolute heresy.
So we need to gather the data that we found, put it on, our aspects or the slate or whatever we have.
Yeah, we just need to get off the ship.
Set this thing to blow and get off the ship.
Because they have lasers set on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you do need to blow the ship to
Okay.
make sure that it's destroyed before it gets too close to Enoch. You don't want any of this potential corruption to have any chance of planetfall.
So Byrrc needs to get access to stuff.
Byrrc will blow the ship up. Jeff is waiting to see if any of you care about trying to save any of the people on here.
Yes.
Byrrc doesn't.
No.
But
no.
Okay.
We burn them all. They're all complicated. It all must be purged.
We're all complicated. We're all complicated.
Yes, but they're all
corrupted.
They're not all corrupted.
Whatever.
We spoke with
Compromised?
several that
Compromise.
were not
That's the word I think he's looking for. Compromise.
Shut up, Jeff. So
didn't say anything.
We do know that the people who were in areas where it still had the Geller field activated, they were not corrupted.
I'm
That's
going
correct.
to I'm pulling rank here. I'm going to no, I can, Jeff, because of my Inquisitorial. I can. It is my ability as an Inquisitor. It is actually
You mean you can actually roll leadership? That is
Yes,
actually a thing that
I
you
can.
choose to do?
No, what I'm saying though is, as a member of the Inquisition, I have authority over all of you. Actually, I do. I have a higher rank. So because I have my symbol of authority, I'm going to say, you don't have a choice. We're blowing this thing, and we're leaving.
Sister Nura walks away from you. She
And you
very
can.
clearly told she does not report to anyone.
And you can, but then I will have you fully investigated and taken down through heresy by the whatever the thing that I'm in charge of.
People.
Super convincing right now.
Powers.
Yeah.
Feeling
You
this-
can't do that because the things and stuff.
Feeling this room.
No, it is
But-
common knowledge.
Yes,
In-
the Inquisition does have the ability to order exterminatus or the destruction of anything, and all servants of the Emperor would acknowledge the authority of the Inquisition to take such
Yeah,
actions.
it's the thing. So like I'm saying, we're burning it, we're leaving. It's my decision. It's not me just being a dick.
No,
It's
you're
just
you're
like-
being a
I am being a dick.
You're being
I am being a dick, but like
You're being a total dick.
it's the It's the totem pole. At the top of the totem pole, I can pull this rank if I want to, and that's what I'm pulling. So we're burning it, we're popping it, and we're leaving.
How are
So
you
let's
gonna,
go.
how
Go
you-
right ahead then.
So I'm going to ask Birk, could you please investigate a way to try and set forth the destruction codes of this ship as we can move forward?
After you.
Okay, I can try and do it with my aspects and my abilities. I'll try it. But
Yeah, go ahead.
It's to get access to the ship system. It's a difficulty 4 tech test with your aspects. You get a +1 dice for that. So
4.
Four. Okay. You were able to get access to the ship. You can actually see what Vintael, the corrupted navigator's plan was to take the ship. If all the Geller fields had failed when they were supposed to, the ship would have emerged from warp as it struck the planet Enoch, creating a warp gate out of the entire planet, basically making a new Eye of Terror within the Gilead system and opening the Gilead system up directly to the Imperium. Imperium, not Imperium, directly to the warp itself. That had been the plan. His backup plan was to warp skip the ship, come out, and then fly towards Enoch, and at the last moment, enter back into the warp in the gravity well of Enoch and do basically the same thing, cause a warp inversion and create a new Eye of Terror. However, you've stopped him and you're able to set the plasma reactors to overload. How much time do you want to give yourselves to get back to the gun cutter and get away? It's about 700 meters.
How long did it take us? I mean,
if you set it for 30 minutes, you'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll do that then. Because I wasn't sure how long it took us to actually get here in the first place.
Yeah, no. As long as nothing else comes to you, and you've got all the corridors are still sealed off, so it's a straight shot back to the docking bay and the gun cutter.
Yeah, I'll set it for 30. Let's go.
Okay, so the light on the bridge begins to change as the self-destruct as the ship is the cogitators are stating over and over again. System failure, plasma reactor overload, and this little servo skull is floating over you. The ship is gonna blow. The ship is gonna blow. And he's looking at you, Birk, as a machine spirit. And you almost get the feeling that he is begging for someone to take him off the ship.
Come. And he will beckon him forward. Like, is there a process, or is it just like, do I tether? Like, is it like some sort of like tether, like some sort of?
He's on he's got like a grav plate in his base, and he just floats. But he comes to you. He recognizes your connection to the Omnissiah.
Okay.
Did we take the other captain's head to make another one?
The captain's head?
I thought they dissolved into dust or something.
Oh, okay.
Over hundreds of years. Yeah.
I like the way she thinks so. It's awesome.
Keep them in the family,
Yeah, a different family from the Navigator's family. So the skull, the servo skull, says its name in binary to you, that it's Haster Cravo.
Okay.
And you can basically later I'll pull a servo skull over onto your sheet. It will be your dedicated servant now. As you make your way down the tunnels, now that you've reset the ship's systems, the ship feels like a normal ship again. I mean, you still hear the banging on the doors. Obviously, there are creatures on the ship that have been affected by the warp, but there's no more fluctuation in the light. The halls feel like normal halls. You quickly make your way back to the docking bay, and you see the dockmaster LeBeau there with all of her people and your pilot. Sounds like the ship is the reactors are going to blow. What's going to happen?
We will return, and the ship will be eliminated.
But I mean, based on what we're seeing on we've only got like 10 minutes before the reactors go.
Yes. hurry, let's go. And she'll start just rushing people to get onto the ship.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't think we should bring them onto the ship.
And
They
this
could
doc,
be corrupted.
she goes, what do you mean? We serve the Emperor. We haven't done anything. We've been faithful servants of the Empire.
How many are there?
30.
Oh, just sitting in front of us?
That's it. There's just 30 people. And, 31 with the dock supervisor.
I would suggest we don't bring them with us. They could be corrupted. They could be members of the warp, and we do not know. They are.
We're not corrupted.
compromised.
We helped you. We told you. We offered you our support.
Is there a roll where I could do to like see if they're corrupted? Celeste is just going to order everyone to get naked. If you wish to leave this ship, strip off your clothes so we can verify there's no sign of corruption.
We must see your nipples.
If you're corrupted, I will end you here and leave you here to die. But if you're not, then you shall leave with us. Do you agree with that, Gavious? Is that suitable to your opinion?
Corruption isn't only just visual. It could be within their body without having any type of signs on their body.
I start unzipping.
Not wait, Bert.
She's like, we've not left this area. How do we know that you're not corrupted? You've all gone throughout this ship. If there's corruption,
I say we leave them. That is my thought.
please take us with you. We quarantine us. Take us to a Medicaid. They could check us out.
1 ounce of corruption within any part of the Imperium is a threat to the God King Emperor himself. We cannot.
What about
risk
that
this.
chainsaw that she's got? We can see it oozing things down her back.
That we will cleanse, but we do not have.
I would have dropped that before we left the other room. Sorry, I should have said that out loud. But yeah.
Oh, you dropped it? Okay.
Oh,
Oh,
we're
you-
not
oh, you don't-
cleansing it?
Oh yeah.
You
Oh,
don't
no,
have
that
it
would
with
have
you,
stayed
or
back there. No, I would have left it in the bridge.
oh, okay.
So that is my argument towards this decision. A singular fractionary percentage of corruption compromises the
What are you guys
Emperor's
going to
vision.
do? Moments are ticking by. Your pilot's looking at you going, tick-tock, we got to get away from this ship. It's
Barrick's,
going to be hard enough getting away from this gravity well.
Barrick's already on the cutter sitting next to the pilot. He's
Okay.
not even involved in this conversation.
I am ready to go.
I move into the ship and I point my guns towards the crew. Not you two, not the sisters, but the others.
So you have signed an entire death warrant for the ship?
Absolutely. That's why I set it to blow.
And Celeste will just take a deep breath. She's agitated, but she does cede to this and she steps onto the
Okay.
ship.
And you see these people as the gun cutters' doors close. They're scrabbling on the side of it. They're crying. They're begging. As the ship's engines come and they pull out, and you see one person holding on to the landing strut, pulls out into the vacuum of space, freezes, begins to bloat. You pull away, you get out of the debris field around the ship, and as you're pulling back and spinning to move in system towards Gilead Primus, the plasma reactors blow. Whatever was corrupt on that ship is gone. Whatever was pure on that ship is gone. And that is where we're going to call it for tonight, on a heavy moment of mass murder, but in keeping with Warhammer 40k, protecting the Imperium of Man against corruption is one of the highest callings.
The
of
Emperor
the
protects.
Inquisition. So thank you everybody for sticking around with us. I know we ran long, but I wanted to get the Space Hulk done because unfortunately on December 15th, the Red Gabo is going to kidnap me and force me to go to a holiday party. So we will not be here. But if you come back and join us on the 29th after Christmas, a little post-Christmas fun, we will be starting the official Litanies of Lost Adventures with the Vow of Silence.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
That's all I got, Jeff. It's back over to you.
All right, so next up we got tomorrow. Some of us here are going to be playing some Call of Cthulhu as we're starting up a new campaign. We're playing some Eternal Lies, which is Trail of Cthulhu campaign that we're converting to Call of Cthulhu. So come hang out with us tomorrow. That'll be our new Saturday game for a while. Monday we've got Fragged Empire 2nd edition. You can see Melissa and I in that. Space sci-fi, not quite as grim as this. So more zany, farscapey type of stuff. Tuesday, a bunch of us here, Aaron, Melissa, myself, we're playing a Marvel Multiverse RPG, and we also got some giveaways that we're gonna be doing that night. If you're interested in getting a hold of Demiplane access to Marvel Multiverse. And next Thursday, we've got Werewolf the Apocalypse, continuing our campaign there. Otherwise, check out the YouTube channel, Adventures in Lollygagging. Got all of our old games up there, doing all that kind of good stuff. Hopefully you find something of interest. But for now, we're going to rate our friends over at Defenders of Cobalt, who are also still playing games at this very late hour on a Friday. So we're going to go ahead and rate them. Thank you to everybody who hung out tonight. Thank you to all of you that are watching this later on VOD or on YouTube. And have a good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
See ya.